Alright, so we've got audio and perfect. We've got video, and let us begin. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, LVE tribe, as well as everyone else accompanying us. On this rather precious, cloudy, kind of cold day of Shabbat from California, the US of A, today being Shabbat the 29th of Adar, the last Shabbat of Adar, the last Shabbat of the year 5993 is on its way out. This corresponds to the 29th day of March of the year 2029, in which we shall study yet another chapter of the Spirit of the Feasts, part 25. This subject, although it's already had 25 chapters, we are always advancing and also repeating certain things so that they are recorded, comprehended better, installed, because at the time in which also what's being formed is the authority that will rule this world. So then it's a world of learning, and when you have to learn something, you have to repeat it many times until it becomes part of you. So then, what's coming up next is Pesach, and Pesach is also one of the most important feasts. Although it was the first one and we changed the numbering, also we're going to repeat again the feasts and what they mean now that we grow near into Pesach. If somebody has a question to ask me about Pesach, if somebody has some sort of doubt, or how do you say concern in Spanish? Some sort of concern of everything that I've taught up until now about Pesach that we will break away with. Break away with the command of not eating anything that contains leaven. We're going to break away with it, openly so. Not even that we're stopping to celebrate Pesach. No. Precisely, there's a feast that's called the Feast of the Bread, of the Unleavened Bread. The name of the feast itself, it's called Matzot, unleavened bread. And we're going to celebrate it by eating leavened bread. The text says, "Let there not be found any leaven in any of your territories." And we are going to not just have leaven in all our territories, but rather we're going to eat the leaven. There could be people that this will shock some people. They're in a dilemma saying, is it right that Christian is correct in this, or that we're going to make Yahweh be upset in a different time because of doing what Christian proposes? Back then you would be cut off from the people. So then there could be a contradiction in your mind. That is why I invite you to, since we have so little left, a little over 2 weeks for Pesach. If you have a question, go ahead and ask me through my Facebook. Ask me, and I'll go ahead and read it anonymously. I'll read it. I have a whole lot of questions that have been left from the previous subject that we will take up again to answer the questions that I've done already, that are pending. A whole bunch of questions that are very interesting, but it's just that we have dedicated ourselves to the subject, and it doesn't mean that we're abandoning the other one. No. Not in the very least. We're not going to abandon anything. Also, it's that we have a lot of time. We also have to think. No matter all the estimated dates that, in my opinion, are very valid, but they're still estimates, we still have to give Yahweh the chance for him to fulfill the things now without getting to 2028. Clearly, I do not want to discard that Yahweh has in his plan, saying this is a good moment. It is a good moment. Let's do this now. I don't know. Absolutely, I don't know. Only he knows. If I knew it, I would tell you, but I don't. We live in this darkness, surrounded with it. We have to try to guess Yahweh's plans. The most logical thing is to think 2028 is a very, very concrete date in our best estimations, being 2032. The complete fulfillment of the 6,000 years. We can't leave a door open so that Yahweh, of expectations, that is, not that we leave it open for Yahweh to do whatever he wants, but expectations for us that Yahweh can do in this year what we're waiting for. Will he do it or not? I don't know. But I don't want to say no, nothing will happen this year. That would be a mistake on my part. What I do know is that he can do whatever. And it'd be good to have a good surprise from him. In other words, for us, in my mind, I want to make this very clear. In my mind, from my point of view, there is nothing to wait for 2028. Nothing to wait. Not you, nor me, not anyone else that comes that is not even me. No, nothing. We are, in my opinion, and that's my opinion, mind you, we're wasting time. Let Yahweh, let him do whatever he wants. Let him follow his plan, whatever he wants. We're all imprisoned anyway. All of humanity has the Stockholm syndrome, like I've already explained, not just the Christians. Yahweh has been our creator, also our cursor. I don't know if that is a word, but I just made it up. He has also been our torturer. Yahweh has been our great problem in all of humanity. Yahweh has been our kidnapper. Yahweh has been, how do you say the person that executes? Yahweh has been our executioner. Yahweh has been our assassin, because we would not die if it weren't because he invented death and he said, you will die. Yahweh has been our judge, and judge always unfair, never fair. He's never been fair because they have all died. That phrase that they say in Spanish, that the devil pays badly to those that follow him, well, understanding that he's the devil, who has he paid well or rewarded well? I want to know who has ever served Yahweh that has been rewarded well, starting with the first one, Abel. In the Bible, we read that Abel was a faithful follower and a sheep. Did it turn out well for Abel? Then afterwards, all the prophets, did Moses do well? He promised him, you'll go into the promised land. Did he enter? No, he didn't. Who killed him? He did. The phrase, the devil pays bad wages, is good for Yahweh. There's a person that says, I want you to die for me, is a person that you can't trust. I want you to die for me. Be blessed those who are persecuted for my name, tortured for my name. Let them die for me. What type of person asks his followers to die for him? A person that is untrustworthy. If I were to hear some teacher or guru or leader that says, I want you to die for me, right there, at that point in time, I abandon him, because one thing is to be faithful to what you believe, and another is to die for a person, unless you're in a battle and we're all fighting for the same objective. That's fine. But to die for a person and to ask them to do so, it starts to cause noise in your mind. What kind of insanity that is. So then the devil pays bad wages to those who follow him is literal. All of the prophets have died, most of them assassinated. So then the employer that would employ them did not have not even the mercy for them to have a good life, to give them some sort of power and protection for them not to be touched. No, Isaiah died cut in half. Cut in half, they put him in a tree, Isaiah, and they cut the tree along with Isaiah in the middle to give an example. The great prophet Isaiah, that evidently was a good guy, but a servant of his Lord. We could also tell about many other prophets. Elijah went up to a fire chariot. It was his last trip to final destination. Nothing that Yahweh took him to heaven, not at the very least. For Elisha's eyes, oh, Yahweh took him, but he took him to death. When he saw that he wasn't serving him anymore, he said, okay, I'll call another. That is what we can continue on a story after another. So then that about the devil's wages are bad to those who serve him. Up until now, in our eyes, we have not seen anything. The servers of Yahweh have a life that's even worse than that of others, because to top it off, they are tortured by their master, who makes them do things that they would not rather do. Like I've told you, all of humanity has the effect. Is it an effect? The Stockholm. What's an effect? The Stockholm Syndrome. Because, what is the Stockholm Syndrome? The Stockholm Syndrome was discovered in psychology when a person is kidnapped. And days pass, receiving an absolutely mistreatment in every aspect, but at some point in time, due to certain acts between, quote unquote, that are good or kind from the kidnapper, the person starts to admire the kidnapper and starts to fall in love with the kidnapper. It gets to a point that they start to defend the kidnapper. It's a syndrome of the kidnapped person that whose liberty was taken away, and they start to look at the person that took their liberty. Incredible, but it happens. It exists, and it exists in all of humanity. All of the religions worship God, and I'm talking about the religions that the Bible has. The other ones, I don't even count them. But all of the religions that have the Bible, which is the Jewish religion, the Christian religion, and it could also be the Muslim religion, because they have a style of Bible, the Quran, based in the Bible also, based in the writings of their prophet, Muhammad. They worship a God that they literally read is a punishing God, a despot God, an assassin God that created them, but also kidnapped them, confine them to a place, torture them, because it's always torture and deaths. In the scriptures, it is very clear that the God of Israel would say that he would make them eat the placenta, because he would make them be so hungry that he would obligate them to eat their own children and even the placenta. How could you fathom a phrase like that? We are in a time in which the terms have been per se purified. We can no longer say certain expressions that before were common, but now in this cancel culture, we have to use terms that are a lot less aggressive than in other times in which I was born. We could say, and I don't want to give expression, we could say give all types of expressions, and now those expressions are very bad, they're inadequate, and we have been reforming us, rebuilding us. We come from a very machista time, openly working against machismo, But the life is still the same. We read those phrases that are completely out of context in our mentality that has been becoming more humane, more humane. I'm going to give a phrase just so you understand, in case you don't understand, you might be like, what phrase? What phrase did he say before? In one of the insults, one could say, well, I don't know if I were to say it, but, well, yes, of course. Well, all types of phrases about uh, homosexual terminology. That uh, F word, it's that the thing is that once humanity understood that homosexuality should not be seen incorrectly, those terms that are discriminatory, they're already indicating an implicit discrimination. Because a person that was not gay, you could use those terms to offend them only. But if the term is offensive, then it means that there was a discrimination against that group. And I was born in discrimination against that group. I was born as a child where they explained me all of the society. I said from my parents that being gay was an abomination. In my house, it was an abomination for God. Outside, it was an abomination for society. And now all that has changed. It's changed in my mind, it has changed in my reality, and it's changed in society. So then everything changes. Absolutely, it changes. The terms, medical terms like that, that are a person, you cannot use the R word against people that have actual mental disabilities. You can't be calling women the B word because you're saying that they're all B words. And in Argentina, they would call them witches. It's very machista. All types of phrases and expressions that will show machismo in a way that is very discriminatory. Don't even mention about phrases about calling blacks slurs. There is no racism, but the folklore in the aspect that it's very colorful and emotional. In Argentina, even the whitest person can be called a black person. It doesn't mean black. It just means black, like a person that is of low education, a brute. That is what you use the term for. That has not been refined. So then, which could have, for everyone, it could have a racist connotation when it really doesn't have it in Argentina. Maybe in a very slow percentage. But that expression should not be used for that. Because we have evolved as human beings. Maybe it could seem, oh, we're so delicate, you can use anything. But to tell the truth, it's better. Another expression that was used before in Argentina, anything they would call you fat. Oh, you're such fat. Oh, you whale. I mean, all kinds of things. If you're just a little bit, oh, you fucking fatty. Let's see if you put the fork down, cut down with the ravioli. If a girl, oh, you fucking fat bit. I mean, it was terrible. Terrible the way I was brought up. That right there, it was a society that was hurting. It's a society very emotional and hurting, and it was categorized a little bit more, and you were fat for everyone. Even if you were later, you lose weight, you're still fat for them in their eyes. That in Argentina has been reduced to almost nothing, because now what's understood is that to call a person fat that's a little bit overweight or obese, it hurts them psychologically, and through the school and the means that people have been educating the people to don't call people fat, don't highlight things that bother you of them. It is discrimination. And actually, once you think about it, at first you say, I mean, this is so stupid. If he's fat, call him fat. No. We never value or value how hurtful it is for the people that are going that are a little overweight for them to be called fat. They don't like a fat person to be called fat. They say, yeah, that's fat. I don't get offended. It starts to hurt because they're discriminating you by saying you're fat, you are black, you are this, you're a witch, you're this and that. When we categorize the people according to the eyes of the beholder, because it could not be the reality, because he's not even fat. I mean, just because he just has envy, says you're an Indian, a black person, a fatty, things like that. We have been evolving. I know that sometimes we love the crystal generation that is upset about everything and about nothing, but they have their positive things, because we should learn to be more respectful with our fellow beings. We should be next to a fat person, not call him fat, call him by his name. Somebody that's bald because they lost their hair because of whatever problems, give or take, we understand. Don't call him bald. Don't call him bald. Why do we call him baldy? You call him baldy. That's what you call baldies. Why highlight something that bothers him or that person? Somebody that's short, we call him midgets. I mean, that's the way it is. For what reason? Because we want to hurt others. We want to categorize them and reduce them to the least expression, that aggression that we have of human beings. And little by little, we have been evolving to start to treat us even better. It's difficult, yes it is. Could this take longer? It'll take longer, but in what I have left, that is, I am 55 years old. I look back, and it is abysmal, the difference of the treatment. It's abysmal, the treatment difference. So then, there is a change in society. There is a change. Is it for better? It's for a lot better. We start to respect each other. The thing is that there are things that we don't see, and when we look at a girl or a person that's fat, in our mind, we already judge them as fat. Being fat is disagreeable, and always have a mind judging fat, skinny, pretty, ugly, white, black, short, and Indian, all types of things that on a permanent basis we're classifying the people that are falling into the subcategories, and that what does is it's a society that is judging of how the person looks. And I also we have to call the F words, the male F word before a girl, also to have been pregnant outside of marriage was such a shame. Now no longer cares. No one cares. At least it doesn't matter like before. Some years before it was a dishonor. Family would be left without any honor because they had stole the honor. And what does sex have to do with honor? But we've been already surpassing those things by a lot in every aspect of society. So then society has been becoming more human, respecting. Now, when I read the Bible, which is a disaster, we have the Israelites and the Goyim. The Goyim is a term of nations, but it's also used for all of the animals. It's a very demeaning term. All of the Torah, and there's our terms. That is very, very. I mean, don't even mention the role that the woman has. Don't even mention it. The role that a woman has in the Bible is zero. With some exceptions, but in the religious part is zero. You will never find a priestess. It does not enter into the mind. In fact, you have to cover your head. According to all of the Jewish religion, and even according to Paul, that went past the Jewish religion to get into Christianity, he also said that the woman should not cover her head and to have her hair out loose. Because of the angels, what? Because of him? What angels is he talking about, Paul? I mean, it's insanity. Then the other stupid idiot comes whose name is Peter, and he says, women have to be, not to wear jewelry, or why don't you shut your ass? You're talking out your ass. You haven't a fucking idea what it is to be a human. You were a beast, Peter. You that did not want to enter into the house of a supposed Gentile goyim. You did not want to enter, Peter. You are a complete nauseous person. You have lots to learn, Peter. And they didn't reward you for following your master. That you were not rewarded well. So then Peter's not my guide. When Peter says a woman should not, why don't you shut your ass? Just directly. Not even with love. Peter, you might be wrong. No. I have lots of language. Peter, back then, he was being correct, and for us, it's not so correct. No, I'll tell to Peter, shut your ass. You're talking out your ass. You haven't the fucking idea what you're talking about. You're a dog shit Jew. Maybe I went over in the terms, and I went back to my time because I've already said many things. He's already said many things that should not be said now. But that is what results about Peter when he speaks like that. How he wants to say how the women should be in his eyes. And then Christianity, I was brought up in a house where jewelry was never used, not even the ring, the marriage ring, because it was a thing before God. Why? Because of Peter. He used jewels his whole life everywhere. But Christianity, the austere Christianity, they started to take their jewels away. Do you know why Christianity would take their jewels away? Because they had to give them in the church. I saw a video this week, but I can't remember what it's called, this sect. Look it up online. The most dangerous sect in Argentina. An Argentinian boy, he went in and he says, I was infiltrated into the most dangerous sect in Argentina. This sect, which is not from Argentina, it's from here, from the U.S., that I had never even heard of, by the way, the name. But you can look it up. Nor was I. I didn't even want to tell you about this, but it came to mind. This sect, where he went into, it's a sect born here in the U.S. of ultra-Christians. What do they believe in? What the apostles taught. The douchebags, apostles, the followers of Yeshua, there was dog shit. None of the 12 were good. Maybe John a little bit, but not the rest. Maybe it's good for something. I want to condemn them completely, but they're not men that I admire, not at the very least. Since they went to the temple, I mean, don't even mention it. This sect follows to the letter the book of Acts, that a Christian, a follower of Yahshua, as they call it, has to get rid of all of their properties, just like the primitive church did. Give it to the church, all of their property, and to live in a community. So then these founders, which are American, which I didn't know, they started with that community. So then if you want it to be a part of your church, of that church, you have to sell all of your property and give them to the church, and to live in a room that they'll give you. You can get married with the person that they allow you to get married to, and you'll work for free for the rest of your life for them. They have a farm and a restaurant. Can't remember what they call the restaurant. So then everything they sell in the restaurant, which they say it's very delicious, they harvest it. They have cows, and they make their own milk and cheese. They make the bread. They make everything. So then they offer in a very beautiful restaurant. It's a very delicious food there, and the people that want to join that sect, they can join, but you'll work forever for them, and they'll give you a place to live and a little bit of money for certain things. But certain things you can't leave to take trips. You cannot abandon that place. It's a reclusion that's absolutely, it goes way past what I could understand. I can't believe if for that were those fucking reunions of the apostles of Acts, it is to burn that fucking book. You know what happened already. What happened, Peter, with that story of that matrimony that promised, and then they gave less. What happened with them? They died, and all of the people says, "Wow, this is so marvelous. You cannot deceive the Holy Spirit." What a son of a bitch! Complete assassins, these people. How are they gonna sell their property and give it to a religious group with these fucking dog shit group of this primitive Christian church? It was something that was absolutely more than insane. That's why I don't have any admiration or sympathy for any of the disciples. Well, it could be. Look it up on YouTube. I got into the most dangerous sect in Argentina. That's right. And what's the name of the restaurant? Something like that. Something like that. Something like that. I want you to watch later when you have time. Watch that video so that you see what a sect is. What a sect is. The gatherings they have, the women covering their head, worshipping, dancing, worshipping Yahshua, and all that dog shit that they do. I mean, wow, for me, it's something disgusting. Some people think that the Eternal Truth is a sect. They haven't an idea what a sect is. And a sect already tells you it's something that is closed. Closed. Every information, and that they live in commodity, in a community, and with customs. In order to know, you have to go in with concealed rights and secret rights. The Eternal Truth doesn't have absolutely anything secret to share that is secret, nor absolutely anything strange. It is a group of people that receive the information like anybody else can say it and receive it. And we're against all sects and all cults, and you can do whatever you want. And the open religions also. We're against everything, absolutely everything, because we believe in liberty, absolutely. That video, watch it because it's interesting how a God can take all of your liberty, and turn you into a group where only one thinks for all and the rest work for free for that organization. It doesn't enter into my mind. I can't fathom it, really. But I'm speaking about the Stockholm Syndrome. The Stockholm Syndrome is that all of humanity, the religious humanity, has fallen in love with their Creator. They worship Him and they follow Him. And they wait, expecting in Him. They expect the Creator. They have their hopes in Him that gave us the terrible experience. They wait for that salvation on behalf of Him. Humanity believes that their kidnapper and torturer is the Redeemer and Savior. Every Christian believes that. Just to not make it seem so much like that, they invented the enemy of God, Satan, the evil person in the movie. But all that is a lie. There's no Satan. The only Satan there is your own Creator. The Bible says it. It's not that I'm making it up. It didn't see it in a vision. I don't come here with a secret book. The very Bible tells you that God does good and evil, that God created the tree of the science of good and evil, that there is no evil that is not done by Him. He is the only one that will punish you. I will give you death. I will curse you. We don't need any Satan. He does not exist. He is the only Satan that exists. But the people expect that being comes to save them. That is the Stockholm Syndrome. They have fallen in love with their own kidnapper. That is why in the plan, Yahweh the Creator, that is above everything that I've just mentioned, He says, but I don't care to be their Savior. I've made this world for them to self-govern. And how do you achieve for a world to self-govern? Well, in the world, you create a government in order for the government that self-governs, and they don't have to be pending and helping and saving and redeeming and punishing their creation. So then it is very clear in the Bible that Yahweh is not the Savior, He's not the Redeemer, but rather that is why He created the figure of the government, which is the Messiah. In the last subject, a person wrote something which evidently, they do not understand nor reads, didn't understand or heard everything. Let's see if I can find it. The only one that I didn't give him a heart. First I gave it to him, then I took it out. First I gave it to him, then I took it out. I said, nah, I'm not going to give it to him. If I do it, I have to clarify to him. Nah, I'm not going to give him. Let's see if I find it. Just to clarify, I know that maybe it makes no sense. He's probably not even listening. Well, I don't know if I'm going to find it. I'm checking to see if we can find it. Let's see. I see that many don't have a heart. I don't know how some escape me. Well, it said something or other like this. It said something like this. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if I find it in this way. It wasn't that far down. Maybe he deleted it. Here it is. Carlos Alberto Vargas is his name. He says, wow, I see that here they've got a new God, which is this respectable gentleman. But there's people for everything. What things, no? He put a smiley face of crying, laughing. Well, in what Carlos Alberto's wrong, Carlos Alberto Vargas, is that I don't teach that I am the new God of the earth, but I teach. I can speak in singular, but I teach that God is authority, and a group will be the new God of the earth. A group, an entire group of people will be the new God of the earth. It's not going to be the Christians. They have three gods, or there's no problem for them to have 3 or 300, 400, 500. There's no difference. But the word God means authority. And we know that authority is not just one. We don't say here that the president of the U.S. is the only authority. No, the authority is all of the government. So then the government, that we're going to call God, is not a being. It is a group of people. That is explicit in every one of my subjects. So when a person comes along, and maybe they listen to me, and that I am making emphasis in that one is the God, you're wrong. You're wrong because you haven't heard of all the subjects. You have not assimilated this. And I say this just to clarify. Maybe some see that I use the singular term, but the thing is that the Bible also uses it. And when the government is singular, also the government is singular. I can't say the government of the U.S. No, it is the government of the U.S. It's singular then. So the God of the earth will be a group of people, a nation different to the rest, different. And it's not going to be a person. We're sick and tired of it being only one person, the God. Absolutely, it's not being despotic. It's a group. And since it's a group, there will be many minds. And in those minds, they'll make decisions amongst all of them. That is why they are judges also. They're judges because it's a government of justice, because it is something that they will all be in agreement in certain resolutions, or else they're going to argue amongst them to see what is the best way. I want this to be understood, Mr. Carlitos. To call Carlos, I'm insulting him. Unless they already called him Carlitos, but if I call Carlos Alberto, I say, you know, Carlitos, I'm insulting him every time I make him. Yeah, it's like calling him an idiot. I'm patronizing him. You're wrong, Carlitos. You're wrong. If you want to make an opinion, next time you give your opinion, make sure you know what you're talking about, or else you look like an idiot. I hate people that give an opinion without knowing. In order to know, you have to know, or else just shut your ass. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's very simple. Just stay on your own lane. Stick to your own lane. It's got nothing to do with it, but you knew it either way. In other words, if you want to give your opinion about the eternal truth, listen to more than one subject entirely and understand it, what the eternal truth is. And if not, just follow on your path. So then, that is what we're doing. All this I told you about our kidnapper that we have is if you still have doubts that you're going to eat bread with leaven in Sukkot, in the feast without leaven, then write to me. That's why I can read them. Maybe some of you in your little heart that is very sentimental, you say, oh, I just can't. Here it is written. I'm speaking for myself. I could give a fuck what is written. Just like that. In this point, I could give a fuck what is written. Even if it's more written, it's our condemnation. That is my opinion. Now that it becomes yours, it has a lot more value what is written than this person that is speaking to you. Which could be the case. So then I invite you. I'm not going to reveal your name, but if you still have doubts, you can write to me, and next Shabbat we'll answer them. Very well. We have not started with the prayer. Well, let us pray to our kidnapper. I'm funny like that. I'll be here all week. Beloved Yahweh, our kidnapper, because you've kidnapped us, you have been torturing us here. Actually, we are in a time that we wish for you to be done with your prophecy. We are sick and tired of waiting for you. We are sick and tired of death that you've done in this whole earth. We are sick and tired of the torture that's been seen in the pain in humanity, all by your hand. We know your plan also of giving the earth to your Messiah. And, well, your Messiah says, well, it's time. There's no reason to be waiting till 2018 or whenever you want things. Because also the case could be that your Messiah no longer wants to be your Messiah. So then you should take into account, if you care about this creation and you care about human beings, and also if you care, the government that you're going to install here of human beings, all this so that you think it over in your name, the Creator, Yahweh, Alleluia. Well, I don't think you've ever heard a prayer like this. I mean, it's a chat with Yahweh saying, we're a bit tired of this situation, tell the truth. Because you just say, you give us a candy and then you say, oh no, you have to wait. No. Someday we're going to say, you know what, why don't you fuck off? That could happen. That could happen. It could be tomorrow. I'll shut everything down and it's over. It could happen. It could happen. I'll do something else. That could happen. I never know how my mind's going to work. There comes a time that you get tired. Like any couple, you get tired and you say, that's it. This is as far as I go. Same thing. Same thing. So then, I hope that Yahweh acts. I'm no longer that idiot son of the kidnapper. Oh, yes, please. I don't want any compassion. Have compassion on yourself because the hate and the anger goes up. There comes a point that we're not going to believe anything anymore. Nothing. We're going to use another. That will be some idiot, of course. Of course, he's going to be some idiot that you have to use because you didn't design him for that. Very well. Taking that prayer out, let's see if Carlincho comments on it. Maybe he likes it. Let's go with the birthdays, and then I'll go with this presents that I have to speak about soccer a little bit. Yahweh has given one more year of life. Oh, that's great. He's thanking. Members of the Eternal Truth, which are Ramon, Huananja, Argentina, Sara Brandão, Brazil, Jemima Diaz, Guatemala. Sole Tralma, Chile. Jose Tomas Fermin Sotillo, Venezuela. Luis Albert Mendoza Baez, the Dominican Republic. To each and every one of you, a great big hug on behalf of all of us, and wishing you to soon fulfill everything that we believe in and we desire, and that you no longer have to have any more birthdays under this unfair government of Yahweh. And maybe you, look, I'm not going to get tired, because if I get tired, I'll shut everything down. This channel and ministry, I'm not going to get tired from here on out, since I started, of always remembering who Yahweh is. Because the pain that I feel when I see news, I see human loss, I see deaths, assassinations, I see lies, I see that the people are acting wrong because they don't have any other option of acting wrong, because they were educated that way, and there is no place to find the truth, or they don't even know where to find it, or the mind. No one can find it. All that is Yahweh's to blame. Your mind has to know that we live in this chaos, which is the Yahweh is to blame. And thanks to what the humans got that is good, we have been little by little taking out the bad things, some of them, and replacing them with good things. Because all of the technology that we have, is thanks to us being willing to help. It is more than just making money. To be willing to help, to live better. I mean, Yahweh didn't come to do that for you. I cannot thank Yahweh for anything of what we enjoy today. Nothing. If it weren't for him, we would still live in the Stone Age. Pharmakeia. We have more things to thank Pharmakeia than to reproach. That is insanity, what I'm saying already. Why? Because they have appeased a bit the pain that Yahweh created. You know how many people that have had allergies or because of some anesthesia, how much pain have they saved in the world? That pain would have been felt if it weren't because of what us human beings invented to appease that curse. Just think how much pain, as if it was in the physical, was taken away from humanity, not thanks to Yahweh, but thanks to us, who make mistakes. And do we make some substances that are bad? Yes, that's fine. I mean, can some die? Yeah, that's normal. And thanks to when deaths happen because of that, we learn and we reduce, we change, we alter things in order for them to work better, and the chance is minimized for death. I'm not talking about other negative things, okay? I'm speaking about the positive things. And it has so many positive things. Antibiotics. How many lives have been saved because of antibiotics? I mean, innumerable people that, because of knowing Germanic medicine, mind you, because of the type of the conflict resolution that they had, that infection was going to kill them. It was going to kill them because the resolution sometimes kills you. Many times it kills you, depending on the conflictive massive, depending on how large it is. A resolution may come and kill you if it weren't because Pharmakeia has discovered certain substances that mitigate what your body does. How many millions of people have been saved? I mean, you can't even count them just like that. You can't count them. There's no way of calculating millions of people that have been saved because of that. There's also the millions of people that have been killed for other things in the Pharmakeia. Let's go way past that. The Pharmakeia also includes the reformation of the grains. I've explained this already. So then we have all these stupid idiots that say, no, that the reformation of the grains to stick, it'll bring you this, it'll bring you that. It's all lies. It's all lies. Just like that, it's all lies. It's all lies. The reformation of the grains, in other words, the grains, what do they call the grains? Yeah, the grains and all the rest that are, how is it? No. That are what? Yeah, all of the genetically for all the transgenics. And at some point in time, I was there, but I didn't give it too much importance. That it brings cancer, that it has this and that. Look, it's all a lie. It's absolutely a lie. All those malformations and problems are brought by other types of conflicts, not that. If it weren't, I've already said this a time, and I'll repeat it again because maybe your mind has not understood it. If it weren't because of the transgenics and in the changes that we have done in the seeds, this world would not eat. Just like that, directly, they would not eat. They would not eat because we would not be able to harvest the things that we harvest. Directly, we could not eat. Just like that, we would not be able to eat, period. If the minds, as of some of you, that maybe some, and some many from outside, we have to go back to what's basic. Yeah, what? To harvest with a stick, to plant with a stick and a shovel? Is that what you expect to feed the world? The technology, the technology to kill bugs, the technology to avoid the plagues of Yahweh, the man has had to find methods that go way past that you could have ever imagined to be able to harvest grains for people to for them to not be eaten by the plagues, to spray this and chemicals or whatever it might be for the better good of humanity. That is true. You can study and read studies that indicate to you the production of grain that we have now, that if it weren't, and we would not have modified it, we would not have not even the tenth part of the production of grains. Just like that. It's very simple. It's very simple. It is very simple in every aspect. So then, we have lots to thank humans for. Humans really are gods, all of them. This whole humanity are gods. It's just that they need a God that's a little stronger for them to guide them, which will be the Messiah, which will be the new God of the earth. But they're directing gods. All humans are gods. Between all the human beings, we have made a civilization that has never, that Adam and Eve have never had even dreamed about. Not the prophets, not Peter, not John, not Paul, or any of the biblical authors. A civilization in which we live in a different way, that we seem to be gods, actually. Just speaking about the bathroom, how simple the bathroom is, of how we cleanse ourselves, how we live, in the status that we live in. So then, stop complaining that we're in no, we're in the best time in the world. Yeah, there is pain still. Of course, there's still pain. There's deaths and blah blah blah. There's injustices all over the place. But don't think that there wasn't any injustice before. I think that now there's a little more justice than before. It's just that we are submerged here and we would want more, but we don't know what it is to have lived before. Before. What does get me upset is lies and the government that lives here with lies and all those things, of course. But what a value, and I want to thank every human being that exists in this world. What a value that we have had as a group. The discoveries, the technical innovations, it's incredible. And I'm going to thank, and exclusively, only the gods that inhabit this plane. I cannot thank Yahweh for it. Nope. I thank men for it, because we are in a constant search to become better. Do we make mistakes? Of course we do. Is there a business in the middle? Yes, of course there's business. Of course there's a business. Is there bad intentions? There are bad intentions, but there's also very good intentions, because human beings, when we see that there's a bad intention and we discover it, we try to fight it, so then there are better products that come out, and then better and better and better. I remember when we saw a program with Leslie, that when electricity was invented, it was so dangerous because of the cables. People started to say that it was of the devil. The Christians would say that the electric light was of the devil because they would use candlesticks back then. So then the light, and they also said they produced sicknesses that you should not use them. They used to say, and 10,000 things against the witchcraft that electricity was, according to them. That has always happened, always, until humanity finds out how to make things better, how to make the cables better, more and more safe to avoid accidents. There's always going to be accidents. So then humans come along and they say, no, we have to do it this way, we have to do this and that, we have to bring down the voltage, we have to do it this way. And it's always happened that way. When LED came out, the LED, I even thought that it was bad because it was bad. The LED light was bad, and it's not like this. It's always going to happen. The same thing's going to happen. We're used to something, they bring something else. Oh, we suspect. Oh, no. They want to destroy us, they want to kill us, they want to annihilate us, and blah, blah, blah. It always happens exactly the same thing. But what happens? Actually, we are becoming better and better and better. And this improvement has no end. I was listening to yesterday a CD that I had all of their CDs. It's called Manowar. Manowar. I know it from Argentina. I used to love it. It turns out that a guy in artificial intelligence made a whole CD, like, I don't know to what point or how he did, I don't know. But he programmed the AI for, after making it listen to all of the CDs of Manowar, and that they're still singing, but they're not so good now. But he made him listen to everything, and it says now compose, the way that you know that they compose. And he made a whole CD, and the artificial intelligence copied the voice of the singer, and so he made new songs, new lyrics, new melodies, and everything sung by the band that says, this is the new CD of AI of Manowar. And tell the truth, it is impressive. People themselves in the comments say, this is a lot better than what Manowar does now. I mean, to what level can the artificial intelligence get to compose, to copy the voice, and to make it sound that they're singing something else? I mean, incredible. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I can't believe it. To listen to new songs, new lyrics, in the same style of Manowar. And even better than what they're doing now. For example, Metallica for me was a great band. Everything that they did after the Black Album was dog shit completely for me. Metallica, I used to like it at first, Metallica. Complete fan of Metallica ever since I was in Argentina. Master of Puppets, Riding the Lightning, all that. Justice for All, until the Black Album. From the Black Album and on, I didn't like anything. I didn't buy anything. I can't stand Metallica and the modern Metallica. I can't stand them directly. I can't stand them. If the artificial intelligence, I make them listen to everything that I like, all the first albums, and then I tell them to make me an album in this category, I can assure you that it's going to get an album that's a lot better than the ones that they do now. Why? I don't know until what point everything will advance. But what I'm saying is that humanity, will stay behind. So then my mind flies and says, what will happen if we were to continue in the next 100, 200 years, 500 years, 1,000 years? I mean, it's a great challenge. What will this group of gods, because God created us, and if to top it off, they have a fertile ground where there's no lies and they can work amongst all of them, where there is no deceit or business, actually humanity, in the end of the 7th millennium, we shall have a society that is absolutely incredibly advanced of what we have now. In other words, during the whole millennium, never ever will it be what Christianity tells us. It'll be everything peace and everything dressed in white and worshiping Yahweh, Jesus, or Jehovah, or the Holy Spirit, or the three in a world. No, no, no. We as human beings will not stop creating because it is the characteristic of a God creator. And we will not stop creating ever. And we will not just be satisfied with what we've already created, but we're going to make it better and better and better. We've seen it since my time up until now. It's incredible the changes are, but we're talking about a time lapse of 50 years. If we talk about 1,000-year lapse, what this society will do at the end of the 7th millennium will be something incredible. And the following years, I mean, you just can't imagine it. So then, never will this be boring, ever. It'll never be boring. Never. The only boring thing is lies, being tired, pain, and death. That is boring, and that is what was given to us. But God, the Creator, and it'll change. That is our wish, absolutely, that it'll change. And we have to go and leave the Stockholm effect. Okay. Who gave me this? The one that gave me this, let him say his name now in the chat because we received it and didn't say anything. And it is Yerba Mate of Boca Juniors. It is very beautiful. I had bought this one before. It is very delicious, absolutely very delicious, very cute, very, very much seen and precious. So then many thanks, Leslie. Notice and see who gave us this. The Bombonera, Alberto J. Armando, is already set up, and it was set up by Brian. I told you that Leslie and I was going to fix it up, but Brian beat us to it, and he said it was difficult, and he fixed it. Here it is, fixed. It is precious. Oh, really? Both things. Oh, okay. So then many thanks, Miguel Angel, Monica, and Alexia. The Bombonera is already put together. Spectacular, absolutely precious. I'm afraid that Kurami goes in because if he sees a box, the guy goes and he wants to go in. He has that. These cats, they see a box, they want to go into the box. Be careful because he sees this little box. He says, "I want to go into that Bombonera." And he's going to break everything. It's precious. So then for now, we enjoy it. It is spectacular. The Bombonera. Now, we received a whole bunch of things that we cannot show everything. We'd have to take them. There are kind of like, don't you, what do you call this for the beds? Some pajamas, could we say? There are 4 pajamas and 4 robes. Okay, 4 robes, Leslie says. It's for everyone, right? A little group for me, for you, for Brian and Angelina, right? Yeah. I'm gonna read the little card. It is from Carmen and other people that I'm gonna read their card from. This one is kind of like a pajama. These are PJs. Oh, okay. Because they're robes that we call it to jump out of bed. We call them out of bed jumpers. I don't know why I look like Elvis Presley like this, and I look younger with this robes. I look like Elvis Presley. And also some pistachio seeds, coffee, an organic coffee that's toasted, and that is, of course, it's Colombian, of course, and very good. And other grains or seeds, right? Not grains, but seeds to eat. So then I'm about to read who sent all these things. Many, many thanks. Here it is. It says, hello, greetings, Leslie, Angelina, Brian. We've sent a little detail with lots of love. and very special for you, our friends. The pajamas are for you. No. The pajamas are on behalf of Carmen, Gisela, Lisette, and Lisbeth. The the robes, the robes are on behalf of Angel, Lady, Caleb, and Shire, the daughters. A great big hug for all four. Semper Fi. Many, many thanks, every one of you. They're so precious, precious, precious. Very well made. And we didn't want to try them on because we wanted to show them to you today. So then, many thanks for these precious presents. Very well. And where we're going to put the Boca Stadium. Can you see it here? You see a little bit right there? Speaking about Boca. Let's see. Hold on a little bit there. Maybe just a little bit there. Oh, Eddie. Stay. Speaking about Boca. We have a problem that has become viral of the new player that we have, that Chilean Palacios. As it turns out, Palacios, he plays in Chile, and he has been in parties and concerts and all the rest, and he didn't get to the practice date, which was on Monday in the afternoon, and Gago had called him, and he didn't show up. He showed up on Tuesday, and he said that, as it turns out, because when he went to the airport, he had a little accident and he lost his flight. I mean, complete stupid shit. In Argentina, don't take any personal, okay? Nothing personal. Like we say in the song, it says nothing personal. In Argentina, the Chileans, we categorize them super liars. In Argentina, they taught me. And I want to offend anyone, okay? But they taught me, if you're Chilean, don't get upset. If they're Chilean, they're liars. They're famous for that. They're complete liars. And it's not that the Argentinians are not, but it's like the Argentina that is a lying person. Like all human beings are liars, but the Chileans, it's like they go to a higher level. So then we have them categorized as super liars. And of course, from the moment that he had said that he had an accident, he didn't believe him. He said, "Don't be a clown, you son of a bitch. How do you dare to say something stupid shit?" And aside from that, you're gonna go on Monday. You should have worked. You flew the day before, so that now we have the people that are saying Gago has sanctioned Cavalli because he got 5 minutes late to a technical chat some time ago. Cavani, who is the captain and star of the group, he got there 5 minutes late, and he sent them back. He benched them. So then the people are saying, what is Gago going to do now? What is Gago going to do with the Chilean that got there a day late to the practice? Well, there are many problems in this. First of all, it starts with Riquelme. What he should have sanctioned in monetary way is the club. It is the club. So then you had an accident. Let me see the pictures. Oh, you don't have pictures or a police report? Okay. Stop lying. And you'll pay $100,000 fee because you didn't show up to work. Because a practice is work. You're going to pay. We're paying millions of dollars to you. And you come whenever you come. Whenever you want. Wow, I'm the president of Boca. I'll sanction him economically immediately. And then I tell the coach, you know what? Now send him to the bench him. Bench him. He has no right to play. Because when you start to be merciful, you ruin the group. Because the group says, oh, you can do whatever you want. So then I'm also going to not show up. If they didn't tell me anything, I also had an accident. I had a diarrhea. We start with the excuses. We start saying, when I had food poisoning, just excuses. And to top it off, the guy took pictures dancing with women. That's what the soccer players are like, so then we're not serious. We have to entirely set them in their place. And I already got upset that the whole directive commission of Boca didn't sanction him. In fact, yesterday they say, oh, we believe him that he had an accident. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Roman is wrong. The whole council, they're all wrong. And they pressured Gago, like saying, let the guy play. We've paid him. It's so almost $4 million. Let the guy play. And I hope Gago has enough character to not let him play. Do we need him? I could give a fuck if we need him. I could give a fuck. You won't play. You don't play. And next time you do something like that, you won't play for a month. I'll send you to go do something else like mow the lawn. I don't care how much I've paid for you. You won't play. Already? For him to include him in the bench, I think it's a mistake. If we see him as in the bench, it's a mistake for me. It's a mistake because it means that potentially he could enter. If I were the coach, I said, you stay in Buenos Aires. You're going to play against News Old Boys. You'll stay at home. Not at home. You come and run here, run laps, but you will not be in the group. You're separated from the group because you have gone against a group, your team, your coach, and the club, against all the fans that pay for your money. Who the fuck do you think you are to go out and party and not come and show up for work? There's a lot more than, oh yeah, we have to live. No. You have to place him in his place. There has to be a strict order in a workplace, or else people do whatever they want. Possibly. We may even see him play. On my behalf, the guy would not even travel. He would not even travel for them to learn. For them to be a president. We come and do things well. I don't even like for the players to go out and party. Of course, I don't like that. But oh well, in this world, they have their options. But the thing is that if they go and party, it doesn't have. But if they party and drink, then they come and they show up and they say, like Benedetto, happy nights, it's sad mornings, is the last thing that Benedetto said in the club, and they also kicked him out. Why? Because they come to train and they come with hungover and they get injured. Don't think that the injuries come on their own, because they eat and they drink whatever they want, and so then later the body doesn't really work the way it should. They're professionals. They earn a lot of money. Do whatever you want. If you want to party, then don't be soccer players and go and just leave. Good, leave and just be a partier. But we, a serious group, is paying for you. You have to live according to what they're being paid for them to do. It's very simple. It's very simple. For me, Palacios should not even show up in the bench. Remember, when you look at tomorrow, if he's there, for me, it's wrong. If he is as a starter, that is even unforgivable. What was the correct is for him to not even travel there. Brazil, Argentina, or Argentina, Brazil. Like I've already said many times ago, the level of Brazil has gone down a lot. It doesn't mean that Brazil plays bad. Brazil is the team, along with Argentina, the greatest in the world. That's it. It's over. The rest for me in the world does not exist. They don't exist. No one else exists. No, don't say that. Germany has four cup. Germany is dog shit. They play like dog shit now. For them to have 4 titles, I could care less. The only ones that play well soccer in all the history of soccer are called Argentina and Brazil. So then, precisely, we are rivals. The problem with Brazil is, I don't know why, we're dominated by stupid people. There's so many idiots already. With the head of the coach, it was enough to not make him a coach. I cannot stand a person that has that face. And even less as a technician. I mean, it would seem to be something. I see his face and it's like, wow. I mean, just with the face. And I'm not judging or being evil. We're talking about that he has to direct one of the most powerful teams in the world. One of the two, because the other one's Argentinian. And to put a guy that doesn't know about soccer, I want you to understand something. Guardiola, a stupid Gallego, he came and ruined soccer. because Guardiola started with the technique of we have to put more forwards and this and that. We have to play with 3 defenders. We have to play on the sides and the wings, and it worked. It worked for him because he played with the best players available of the whole plane. And of course, he had Messi. He had all of them, the best ones he had. So then, with the best, you can do a horrible scheme and win either way. It doesn't mean that is for players per se that are normal. You have to have super players so that with that scheme, not with that scheme that they were what that all the abnormal coaches said, oh, that's the way, we have to play with the 3 defenders. So then all the idiots that come along, and I don't even like Bielsa, for the Bielsas and all the rest, to attack with more forwards means an aggressive team with lots of goals, and it isn't so. They were not a champion of anything. In fact, I had the greatest deception in soccer with Bielsa. I want you to understand something. And I'll instruct you, by the way. Brazil played with 4 forwards. Because that abnormal person that is not a coach, as I told Leslie, Argentinian Brian, that guy has to be a coach. He should have already stopped being a coach. He can't. To direct Brazil, it can be just anyone, and Argentina has to direct Brazil. But that would be the correct way to do it. No Brazilian knows how to play soccer. Evidently, we have all the Brazilian teams would have Argentinian coaches. I mean, that lets you know something. What the Brazil has lost the needle that in as far as coaching goes. They have lost it. They have the best players in the world without any. It's not that Brazil is not. Oh no, that we don't have Ronaldinho or Kaká. If I direct Brazil, and if I don't beat Argentina, I'll tie them. But the shame that they showed, but when just with me in the bench, just with me in the bench there, I would guide Brazil, and I wouldn't because they're playing against Argentina. But if I were to direct them, I don't do that clown act that idiot did. 4 forwards, and that he's been using that from a long time. 4 forwards that obligate to make them go down and play in midfield. For example, Rafinha, he's not a midfielder. He's a forward. He has to come down. And all the rest, they have to come down. And they don't have good midfielders because it makes them forwards. You know with how many Argentina scored? How many forwards did Argentina have? How many? How many forwards did Argentina? Answer me. 1. Julian Alvarez. 1 sole forward. You know the formation that Scaloni used? 4, 5, 1. You can call it 4, 1, 4, 1, 3. No, 4, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. It's all a lie. 4, 5, 1. That is how Argentina played, and they scored 4 goals. Brazil, they were 4-2-4. It's just that the 4, he makes them go back to play in the middle. But 1 forward, he's an idiot playing in the midfield. You know how many 10s Argentina has said? I've explained to you, because nobody will explain to you this. Not even in the soccer programs. They don't even know. They don't know. They just don't know. Do you know with how many number 10s that Argentina play? With 5 number 10s. 5 number 10s. Because the 5 midfielders, Argentine midfielders, any one of them can act as a 10. In fact, they have had number 10s in other teams. Did you know that the Brazilian selection of the 70s, it was famous because they said that they played with 4 number 10s? Because the midfield is so important, it's a lot more important than the forwards. Because if the midfielders are good, then they score. When the forwards have lots of goals, but they don't get the ball in positions where they have to score, they have 0 goals. So then Brazil is nauseous, because actually the people guiding them is not just because they made them play incorrectly. And I don't feel that the talent, no, not nothing. It's got nothing to do with that. That selection, making them play different with one forward or even two maximum, plays a role, and it would not be like they've been a shame in a whole. It was a tactical dance. That's all I have to say. That's never seen before. The first time that they scored 4 goals against Brazil in an elimination. The first time that Brazil lose at home with Argentina against anyone. When we played the ones going into Brazil, the first time that Brazil is so bad is the first time. It's always the first time because they're in a decadence. Brazil is in a decadence, but the decadence is born based on the coaches, and that is how everything else is based on it. Aside from the fact that you have to place the players in their place. They believe that they are way too much. You have to have smart players. Smart players. The shame that they were against Argentina, to tell the truth, it was. I felt shame. I felt bad for them. I got so angry. One thing that we didn't score 7 because enough to score 7 on against. We gave them a goal, just like you give a child. Take, just score a little bit. Because they didn't even generate it. We gave it to them because it was so easy. It was so easy. Brazil wasn't dominating any aspect of what soccer is, not tactically, not strategically, not even the field, nothing. They were being crushed over in every aspect. Argentina got a little confident, and we lost 1 ball, and they scored on us once. But Argentina did not lose the sight, and we accelerated and we scored more, but we could have scored 3 or 4 more because the game was terrible. It was unfortunate. I was brought up with beautiful stars in Brazil, but what happened the other day was terrible, just like that, a complete terror. Could think that we're all Argentines, we could give a fuck. We could give a fuck about Brazil. That is true, but all I said is how they were danced upon. They were danced upon by Argentina, but it all resides in the coaches and the choosing of certain players that should not be playing in Brazil, and they make them play in Brazil. But good thing that Argentina really danced on them, an absolute dance, and let the party go on. We've talked about soccer enough, but I wanted to highlight that part. Argentina just 1 forward, and Brazil had 4. You think that we have to put 9 forwards? No, sirs. I hope that Gago, Miguel Angel was asking me last time, if Boca continues on like that and it's a champion, would you forgive them? No, there's no forgiveness for Gago. From the moment that we came out from the Libertadores, there's no forgiveness. It's just that Gago's now playing into the non-Gago style, and I have that present in any aspect. When they start to be more confident, they have the beast that they have inside, and they make us play with wings or 4 forwards and 3 defenders, because in his mind, that is what soccer is. So then right now he is contained. Now Gago is doing things that he doesn't like to do. But that doesn't mean that when he is confident in the team, starts to win, he says, "No, why don't we test this?" No. Even if he is a champion, Gago should not be there. Gago should not be there. Just like that, as simple as that. It'll hurt. It doesn't hurt me as much, not because I'm not seeing River playing in the Libertadores. When I start to see it, wow. I'm going to get so angry, so upset. I mean, these dog shit teams are going to play in the Libertadores. Alianza Lima beat us. Alianza Lima beat us. No. They should have all gone, even the president, every last one of them, out. I mean, let's forget it. Not even. No. There is no forgiveness. And there is forgiveness. I want you to understand. Of course, I forgive Gago. I'll see him. I'll hug him. Hey, thanks for everything. But we're going to look for another. Of course, there's forgiveness. But I don't want him directing the team. Go direct another team, just whatever other team. I don't have nothing against Gago, nothing. I think it's great. I mean, I would invite him to eat at the house, but don't stay in Boca's bench. We'll use somebody else there. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Very well. That is at least how I see things. The moon will be seen, and it'll be seen tomorrow. Today's the 29th. Tomorrow, the 30th, the moon will be seen. Everyone go out and to see it. If you don't see it, nothing happens. It is day 30. It doesn't matter if it were day 21. I've already told you this. Day 30. Either way, just because of romanticism, we're going to go out and look for the moon. Tomorrow is the last day of the year. Do you understand that? We leave this year behind forever, 5,993 forever, and we advance onto 5,994. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So then tomorrow the moon will be seen. The month begins tomorrow night, in other words, Monday, tomorrow night. And precisely when Boca's playing, because Boca plays tomorrow, I think at 4, 3, can't remember when they play for us. But give or take, it's when the moon will be seen, so then Boca will be playing as the year changes. I think that for Argentina, they're going to be already playing in the new year. We'll see how it goes. I hope that Gago does things well. 3:30? Oh, 3:30 here? What hour is it there? Did you look it up here? Our time? Okay, 3:30. Okay, 3:30 precisely when it ends and when the sun's going down already, very, very soon after the words. But in Argentina, it will be the new year, 5,994, 5,994, and so I hope we start with a victory. I hope. It would be very good for us. That would be great. If Gago becomes a champion, I'm going to say something impossible. If Gago becomes a champion in the the Cup of Clubs, then I'll forgive you, Gago. But it has to be a champion of the World Cup of Clubs history that'll be played. There were other World Cups. This is the first one, the great one. That'll be played here in the U.S. and it'll be very good. I think so. That it'll be great. And Boca comes with what they have. For me, Boca can beat anyone. I'm not afraid. I'm not the Spaniards. None of them. Why? Why do we not fear anyone? Because we're better. We're greater than all those dog shit teams. The European team is based in just buying the players. Take all the Argentinians and Brazilians and leave all those little teams to see how good they are. Let's see how good they are. And also the Africans. Take them out. Let's see how good they are. Let's see who they're going to beat. France could never win a World Cup until they nationalized Africa. Before, I was always brought up that it was 6 teams, champions of the world, and it was just those 6, which was Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina, Germany, England, and Italy. That's it. It's over. That's it. And they would tell me, Spain will be a champion. I said, never in life will the Spaniards be champions, because they don't know how to play soccer. They'll never be champions. What happened? They were champions. They had a good team. They were champions in Africa. And precisely Argentina, Maradona was helping. I don't know why he didn't. Tell the truth. I thought that with Maradona, we're going to be champions. With El Diego, something happened. Germany scored 4, and a disaster. But Argentina had such a team, a huge. Oh, I know what happened. I just remembered. And I was so angry against Maradona that day. So angry. It was when he said in an interview before the World Cup, he said, yeah, I didn't call Riquelme because Riquelme, even if I love him, you know how he plays. I mean, he's kind of slow and he makes the team to be a little slow, but maybe I'll call him. A very phrase that was very much like that. It was when I heard it, I said, "Oh no, Diego, you're wrong. Riquelme, Roman Riquelme is the best player that I've ever seen. Best player that I've seen." I'll tell it to you like that, and you tell me, who do you want in Boca? For Messi or Riquelme? Give me Riquelme. The only one I would change for Riquelme would be Maradona in his prime. Riquelme, for me to see Riquelme play, my eyes would be filled. And Marcelino Moreno, I see things that are so much like Riquelme, the way of striking the ball, the way of running, of moving his body, very much like Marcelino Moreno Riquelme. I see it like that. I see it. I enjoyed Riquelme to the maximum. When El Diego said that, I knew what would happen. Riquelme said, that same day or the next day, I'll resign. Because the egos are so great, and Riquelme said, I resign. And then the Diego wanted to call me, and Riquelme said, no, I won't play. And we missed the best player in Argentina, even better than Messi. Yeah, what you're hearing, even better than Messi. We played that World Cup without Riquelme. If Riquelme would have played, it would have been different. I just remember what happened. He didn't take Riquelme because he said stupid shit, Maradona, and Riquelme resigned, and that's what happened. I just remembered. I lived it. But I was saying that the World Cup was found by 6 selections, then Spain was added, then France in '98. For the first time. But why did France win? I'll tell it to you very clear why France won. Because they naturalized half of Africa because with their talent they would never win, ever, period. They didn't have how to win. Not with Platini, like I would watch all of them, all of the World Cups, with nothing. They would crush them. When they said we need play better quality players, that's when they looked at Africa and they naturalized half of Africa. That's why now we see France, and we don't know if it's Uganda playing, South Africa, or France. I have to see what. Oh, it's France. That's what happened. Do I criticize? No, I don't criticize them. Win however you can and whatever. So then France won. It went up. It went up to 8, 7, and 8. And England's also there because they stole the World Cup entirely. Some money that didn't go in, and that's why it's there. Or else it'd be even less. It'd be 5. But since they stole 1, England, 6, and then they added France, and they added Spain. And it'll always be in those groups and no more. The World Cup of clubs that is coming up, it'll be good. And if Gago wins it, I'll forgive him. Publicly, so I'll forgive him. I said, no, yeah, you deserve it. I'll choose you again. You have to win the World Cup, though. That's the only thing. The only premise. Very well. You already know, then, that in 2 weeks we'll be celebrating Pesach practically in 2 weeks. You already know it. Pesach is Sunday, the 13th of April, so in 2 Sundays. It's not tomorrow. It's not the following. It is the one after that. In 2 Sundays, because many of you already listened to me, you're already in it. In 2 weeks it is Pesach. So then that's what I'm telling you. If you have a question about Pesach, ask me during this week. Very well. Shemah Israel. Yahweh Eloheinu. Yahweh Ekhad. Hear, O Israel. Yahweh, our God. Yahweh, one is. One alone. It is very clear. Good thing goes one, because for 2, maybe it would be lost. Yes, maybe it would be lost. It's only 1. And with that, 1 only is enough. With 1 is enough. 6,000 years of terror. Welcome to terror. John 8:31 through 32. Then Yeshua said, "O the Messiah, unto the Jews that had believed on him, if ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Free of what? Free of every religious philosophy and scripture. Free. Because the Messiah, I've always explained it, but I want you to understand it well. The Messiah said unto the Jews that had believed on him, if ye were to remain in my word, not in the biblical word, in the Torah, in the prophets, no, in the word of the Messiah, then you shall truly be my disciples indeed, and ye shall know the truth, because the truth is not in the Bible, nor in the scripture, nor in the Torah. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The only freedom is in the word of the Messiah, nothing else. There is no other freedom. No other freedom. Why? Because the word is concealed. Proverbs 25:2. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, yet glory of the king or the Messiah is to discover the word. And the whole rest of the peoples will say, Jeremiah 16:19-21, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there is no avail. If it is men that makes themselves gods, then they are not gods. It is very clear. I put once again the text of the invitation because we're going to read it again. Isaiah 65:1, a text which I gave it to be known last Shabbat. Maybe some of you did not understand it completely. It's a text that speaks about the new God of the earth, not about Yahweh the Creator. It's a text that has a dual application because it's applied clearly in this moment to all of you who are listening to a subject that you were never interested to listen to, and it'll also be applied to the whole world that will hear the Messiah when they did not ask for that Messiah or that truth. I was sought after by those that did not ask for me, and I was found by those that were not looking for me. I said to people that did not invoke my name, here am I, here am I. So then let us study a little bit longer the spirit of the feasts, part 25. What's drawing nigh is the feast of Pesach, and Pesach means rest. Or the death of Yahweh. But we'll study a little bit more about Pesach in another subject. Right now, I'd like to wrap up what we were studying. Let us go directly Isaiah 65:1, the whole entire chapter quickly. I was sought after by those that weren't asking for me. The word sought after is that I was found. I was found by those that did not ask for me. I was found by those that did not look for me. I said to people that did not invoke my name, am I here? I am here. The word invocation has nothing to do with worship. In religion, we always use the word invocation to invoke a divine entity. Spiritists and other beliefs, they invoke spirits. To invoke means to call someone with your mouth. When I call my dog or my cat, I'm invoking him. To invoke, mentioning in the mouth, in within boca, which is mouth in Spanish, invoking. I'm speaking out loud to a person. So when I say Leslie, I'm invoking Leslie. It's got nothing to do with religion. It's not that, oh, let us invoke Yahweh. The fuck are you going to invoke Yahweh? Let's just mention Yahweh. Yahweh doesn't even fucking listen to you. He could give a fuck about you. but they understand it well when you invoke the spirits, for example. The witch invoked Samuel. That invocation, it's a calling through the mouth. I invoke on a permanent basis my dog, my children, Leslie. On a permanent basis, when I need them, I invoke them. And they do the same. Very well. So then, when it says, and I said to people that did not invoke my name, I said to people that weren't calling me by my name. No, they weren't calling me. Here am I, here am I. In the Torres Amat version, it says, those that before used to not ask for me have come looking for me and have found me. Those who weren't looking for me, I have said unto a nation that did not invoke my name, here am I, here am I. I extended my hands all day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good after their own thoughts. Very well. It is very clear that I extended my hands. Can you imagine Yahweh extending his hands? That's a lie. It's an absolute. What do you mean he extended his in what way was he helping to help? If his most faithful servants, he would kill them. The devil pays the worst wages to those that follow him. That's how all the prophets of Yahweh were paid for. I have spread out my hands all day unto a rebellious people. Evidently, they're not talking about a God, the Creator, who extended his hands. It is a way of saying the message. I could read this as follows. I've extended my message, my help, my information. I extended the truth all day. In other words, on a permanent basis. How is this fulfilled? Here, clearly. And the only way that it can be fulfilled is what has happened or could happen with this technology. One thing is to have a preacher that preaches either Saturdays or Sundays, and you have to go and listen to him, but you go and listen only one day a week. You could listen to him. With the technology of being able to have a cassette tape like with Gambetta or some other preacher or a CD, then you can extend what he would speak to a CD and you can hear it again. Doesn't mean that it's all day available, Gambetta or the preacher or Bar or whomever for you. It's not available all day. With a book, it could be available, but we have to read it, and it's available if you buy the book. Is it available? And if you read the book, of course, and it is available, but a book is not the same as a preacher speaking to you. It is not that I extended and not helping you, just so you understand. How is this fulfilled to perfection? Well, by having a video available, for example, in YouTube. It's always available. You can look for it once in time again, not just for you, for whomever that being so bored and they say, what is this guy saying? Wow, I've never heard such a thing. He's so crazy. They formed a new God. You can say that. You can say that. So, what is this insanity? He is Satan's brother. No, I'm the son of Satan, not the brother. The son of Satan. I am the son of Satan. That is enough for you to make clips and all the rest. So that whomever can find this, so then that is literally to speak to them every day and also all night for years. When he came, when the situation came, you had videos saying this is not true. Don't listen to him. It's absolutely the lie. The help was there. Evidently, no one would ask for that help, but it was there. It was there every time that you would see it. It was there. So then I extended my videos all day, you rebellious people. Perfect. Not the hand, because what do we do with the hand? I can give you my hand, but I want you to help me. Says, can you give me a hand? Yes. But I have to cut it off? No, for you to help me. To extend my hand, do you give me some help? And the help was there. It was always there. I extended my hands, my videos, my information, my message all day. To whom? To a world, rebellious world. Of course, why rebellious? a deceived world. I don't like it for it to say rebellious. It is rebellious. No, the world is not rebellious. Yeah, it's got its rebellions, but the world is deceived. It's absolutely deceived. And also, it's got its parts that it's rebellious, that it's a part of a God. Just since we're rebellious, we don't accept what the other idiot said, and we look for better things. And for that rebelliousness, we create other things. If we weren't rebellious, we would accept that we have to live making fire with stones until one rebelled himself and he said, nah, let's do something better than with stones. And so then we can advance to at a distance with horses until someone rebelled himself and said, no, we're going to do something mechanical. It's good to be a rebel, to rebel against what has been imposed, against what is known. You have to be rebellious. Nothing against that. You bring you negative things, and sometimes with rebelliousness, you know your limits, you know what's convenient and what's not. Which remaineth in a way that is not good, and after their own thoughts. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face. Well, supposedly the one giving the message says that, so you have to interpret that in a way that's a better one than what it's saying. Of course, it upsets him that the people does not understand that the people is also deceived. Not just the people sacrificing, doing sacrifices in stupid religions, worshiping a God that does not exist, because that Christ Jesus of 2,000 years ago does not exist. Worshipping Yahweh when Yahweh will not save them either. That stays in the blah blah blah, that stay in your place, and to top it off, they feel so much more holy. Because those that practice religion, they say, oh, I'm so holy, oh wow. In my mouth or ears, there can't be bad words because they offend me, they offend my little Jesus, they offend my little God. Shut your ass. Shut your ass. Because your mouth is in your ass. That is why you keep talking out your ass, you Christian or Jew, and learn. But they think they're holy, immaculate. They're the holy immaculate. Holy immaculate. That's what they think they are, the holy immaculate, and they're not. In our eyes, they are smoke in my fury, in my wrath. Fire that burneth all day. Yes, tell the truth, the one that causes more anger are those that think they're holy. They're the ones that cause more anger. But it's an anger that becomes also, pity. It becomes pity. Poor guys. I mean, I wish they would open their eyes. That's the reality. Behold, it is written before me, of course, I will not remain silent, but I will reward for their iniquity, saith Yahweh. That Yahweh's the new God. Don't look at him as the reward of death, as something symbolic. Due to the iniquities of your fathers, along with those that blah, 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 blah. What the Messiah wants is to inform. What the Messiah wants is that the truth to get to them. Doesn't want to destroy. Thus saith Yahweh, as the new one is found in the cluster, and one saith, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it, so will I do for my servants' sakes, that I may not destroy them all. I've explained this, but it could also have another explanation. It could have. But with the one that I've explained to you, it's enough. And I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob and out of Judah, and I've read that already. And Sharon shall be. Oh, it's a message that is like a parable. Actually, it doesn't say anything. What it's saying is that the Messiah, the new God of the earth, will bless the earth. Will bless it and make it fruitful. Will multiply everything. That is what it's saying. But ye that leave Yahweh and you forget my holy name, blah, 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 blah. I will also destine you to the sword, but it's depending to what it's referring to as being the sword. It could be that it's a symbolic sword that will make them die from their convictions and to be born again. In other words, he's going to let them
crash against the wall, let them know that they're wrong, and they will react. The same thing that I've explained once in Revelation 19. It says that the Lamb, not that the Lamb, yes, that the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, which is the new God of the earth, kills them all with the sword that comes out of his mouth. That is more clear. With the word of his mouth, he kills their ideas. He kills their interpretations. He kills their lies. It doesn't mean that they have to kill them literally. So then there could be a mixture there of certain things that are literal and symbolic that there's no need that we understand entirely now. I think that the God will have so much power that he can kill or cannot kill whatever he wants, but he could give to understand to the people that it's not convenient not to accept him. Very well. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh the Lord, which would be God, the new God of the earth. Behold, my servants, they're not my servants, but my co-compatriots, co-citizens, will eat, and ye will be hungry, and my co-citizens and friends will drink, and ye will be thirsty. Behold, my servants will rejoice, and ye shall be ashamed. That could be death that it's talking about, because yes, until they notice, I no longer want to hunger, I don't want to be hungry anymore. So then leave your stupid ideas that Jesus is going to come to save you, or leave your stupid idea that salvation is found in the Torah. I'm showing you that there's no salvation in the Torah, or else continue to starve to death. But it understands, go somewhere else on earth, because you cannot enter under our government. You have to go through the school of citizenship, and you have to swear by the God of the truth, the new God. You don't want to, then continue to stay outside and there get fucked. I remember in a movie that I watched a long time ago, many years ago, when I watched it I was young. And wow, how I liked it, I enjoyed it, I used to watch it. Now it really doesn't call my attention. I watched it some years ago and I said, oh, what a stupid movie. It really didn't cause me, when I was a young man, that I loved it. It was called Escape from New York. It was the story of, what's this actor called? Well, you'll tell me here. New York Escape, Part 1. Not Part 2, which is awful. Part 1. It was done in New York, a whole entire island, and they had enclosed everything that was Manhattan. And they had made an aisle where they would throw all the most dangerous prisoners right there, and the government wouldn't even look from within some huge mountains. Nobody could escape because they would just kill them from outside. So they all lived there in their own law. As it turns out, there was no better idea than to go in there. So then they grabbed some guy who was a criminal. Did you look for the movie there or not? Did you look? I'm saying, no, they grabbed some criminal who's this actor, and they told him, look, they put a bomb inside his body, and they said, you have so many hours. If you don't bring this, then you'll explode and you die. If you bring the president with life, we'll deactivate it. So then, can somebody tell me what the actor is? It's called Escape from New York. Kurt Russell, good, Ariel. Kurt Russell was the actor. So then they inject something, and they send him there, and they said, bring the president alive. And within it was the life. You had death at whatever turn. It was the life of all these lawless people that lived there. You understand what I'm saying, right? Okay, I can imagine all those that do not accept the Messiah to live not enclosed there, but in a place where they just don't enter where the Messiah is. And they say, are you hungry, children? Are you hungry? Are you suffering? Are you ashamed? But you don't want to go through the school of citizenship here? Well, then continue to wait for your Messiah that's not going to come. And look, if you die, you die. Then you deal with it. If you die. So then keeping that into account, that there's a place where they eat and a place where they don't eat. A place where they have a good time and a place where they are suffering. It would seem that at some point in time, upon some point in time of the earth, I'll read the text again. It says, Behold, my citizens will sing. No. Before that, behold, my citizens will eat, and ye will be hungry. It means that the citizens, it says servants, but you understand, the citizens in a place, they're all eating everything. There's no necessity, but there's hunger in another place. It says, and ye will be hungry. It says, behold, my citizens will drink, and ye will be thirsty. Behold, my servants will rejoice, and ye will be ashamed. Behold, my servants will sing by the jubilee of the heart, and ye will cry out due to the pain of your heart and the breaking down of the spirit, ye shall howl. So then, it makes them to understand that there's a place where they eat, drink, and they are extremely well off, and there's another place where they're really having a really bad time. And what does it cause for them to go from one place to another? Is that they don't want to be citizens. They're accepting something else. We don't accept it. You're not a Messiah. You are the Antichrist. That we were saying, we are waiting for Jesus. Jesus, our Lord. And they're going to stay there howling. The other one says, our Messiah comes with the Torah. Then stay there howling. Are you hungry? You want to eat? Then go through the school of the citizenship. You have to swear for this God. You don't swear for this new God, then stay there with hunger and thirst and pain. Can you remember the parable? That was not understood because you cannot understand it. Once I say it, you're going to say, yeah, it's always sounded weird. Yeshua told a story of the guy that was invited to the feast that was not properly dressed. The Christians interpret that it is justice and blah, 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 injustice, and that one of them got into heaven without them noticing, but supposedly it was in heaven. So then God comes and says, what is this guy doing who's not dressed? Hey, friend, you don't have the adequate clothing. What's going on, friend? So the other one stays there in silence. He cannot answer. What do you mean you came to my wedding feast without the adequate clothing? So it says they grab him and throw him outside, and it'll be the crying and the gnashing of teeth. Question: how can someone be saved and get to heaven or whatever in an inappropriate way just by filtering themselves in it? In filtering, don't you think that's weird? They cannot apply it like the Christians say that he did not have the justice. The dressing is the just. No, hold on. That's fine. That's all fine. But explain to me how he got to that place. How he entered into the kingdom. Explain to me how he entered. Because if he did not have the justice that you tell me, he would not even enter, right? How did he enter? To top of how embarrassing is to have to take him out. Well, I think I explained it even better. To some illegal that entered into a place and does not believe. Do you understand what I'm saying? He does not believe. He says, where's your citizenship? Did you swear for the God of the truth? No. Out with you then. Once you swear, you come back in. Out with you then. Out. Says, what is this guy doing? Oh, this guy is, we have a wetback. We have a wetback here. Out with him. Did you swear for the God of the truth? And he is just silent. He's just in silence. Oh, you didn't swear. You don't want to swear for the God of the truth? Oh, silence. Okay, out of here. Out with you. You can understand it even better. It is very well that way. And it ends up saying, and ye shall leave your name. Something that the Jews cannot understand. Because it's not about Jews. This, even if it would seem in the reading, superficial reading, it's talking about Jehovah the Creator and his people Israel, but he's telling that Jehovah Creator to his people Israel that they will no longer call each other Israel, that they will no longer exist. That's what he's saying exactly. And that Israel even changes the name and has chosen that are not of Israel, that are people that weren't looking for him, that they didn't know, they didn't invoke his name, they would go and eat, and not the Jews. And that the rest would go and eat, and the Jews will be thirsty. That not the Jews or that little group will have a good time, and they're going to howl because of the pain in their heart. That is what it's saying. And to end up fucking it up, it says, to top it off, I'm going to take your name away. I'm going to make them as a curse. They who are called the Jew, they're going to be a curse of an accursed. And my other group that never asked for me, but accepted me, I'm going to call them by another name. That is what the text is saying. But it's got nothing to do with the Yahweh, with the Jews. That is what's happening. It's got nothing to do. And aside from that, it says that Jehovah the Lord would kill him. And you would leave your name as a curse unto my chosen. What is your name? It is Israel. And Yahweh, the Lord, will kill you. Whom? Israel. And his servants, in other words, his new people that did not invoke his name, he will call them by another name. Well, this is not referring to Israel. Everything that I've said is not applied. The Jews cannot interpret this. They say this is conditional. It is a condition that if we don't repent, then we're going to be teshubah. We're going to keep the Torah, the 613 mitzvot. And, I mean, we'd have to be crazy that we leaven in Pesach like this individual does. Okay. It doesn't talk about the Jews, but it is talking about the Christians. This group. It's already referring to the time of the end. So then those Christians that didn't understand a thing, they have to die to their beliefs. That is what it's saying. And the word Christianism has to disappear. Because Christianism, even if we like the name, because they call themselves followers of Christ, it's not referring to the Christ, the real one, the Messiah of now, but it's referring to the Christ of 2,000 years ago, a divine Son of God that came to die for the world. So then that name is placed as a curse because they're going to notice how wrong they were, how ridiculous they were, and they themselves will end up saying, it was all lies, only lies. This is embarrassing. This is a curse. Don't let anyone ever again be named a Christian because we believed in a Christ that does not exist. Christ is the God of the earth, period. So then, 16. He that would bless himself on earth at once, a blessing on earth. If you really want to be blessed on earth, in the God of the earth, you will be blessed. The only one that can really bless you. If you want a blessing on earth, the new earth, you have to look for the blessing of the God of truth, or the God of the truth, something which is not that Yahweh creator, which was God of the truth, and the lies. The one who would ever swear on earth for the God of the truth, he shall swear. Exactly. There's no other God aside from the God of the truth. I want to leave this very clear because maybe you don't really understand that the people, whom are they going to thank? Whom are they going to be thankful with? Let us go ahead and think. Wow. No, forget it. I could give an example, whatever example. What this group of people will do, which is the Messiah, about the entire world, it will generate an admiration and a love like never before. Because from the God creator, they're not going to receive anything. Just like that, nothing. Nothing. So then, also, they cannot thank God the creator for his redemption. For now, in the mind of every human being, whether Jewish or Christian, have in their mind that redemption comes from the Creator, that salvation comes from God the Creator. The Jews, a little bit, have a bit of a confusion there because they understand that in the end of it all, redemption comes through the Messiah, and salvation also because they have very clear texts about this, but they do not leave out their God Hashem, which in the end of it all, it doesn't bother me, the word Hashem, the name, for them to call Yahweh, because if you look at things, they never say Yahweh. They say Hashem. Hashem means the name. And in the end of it all, the name is good, because they don't even know the name, nor anybody knows the name, and the name turned out to be the new God of the earth, the eternal truth. And they, in their ignorance, they did not want to mention I am that I am, Yod, Hev, Vav, Hey, and they start to say Hashem. But the name Hashem is as if to say whomever, just whomever, the name, who's the name? They don't even know who the name is. Yeah, the name will be LVE. That's the name. That's the name. They're going to have to learn. They're going to have to learn. So then everyone will have to learn that they cannot thank God, their superior God. For example, I don't know how to explain this. How to explain this? When the people see that their redemption and salvation comes via the government, and that because of the government they receive life, and on behalf of the government they receive youthfulness, and on behalf of the government they receive strength, and whatever technique to better your body, and their so-called ailments and all the rest, they're going to learn to all thank their true God, which is the government. They cannot thank Yahweh for anything that didn't do anything for them, but other than just create them. That is the end of everything. Little by little, your mind has to just start to understand this. The people will not be thinking, we thank you, God, the Creator, for sending us the Messiah. No, of course not. The only God that they're going to have is the Messiah. That is why the text says, he that will bless himself on earth, he shall be blessed in the God of the truth. He shall be blessed, and he shall swear by the God of truth. These texts are not just here just because the first suffering shall be forgotten and covered from mine eyes. In the textual Bible it says, for whomever is blessed on earth shall be blessed by the God of the truth. No other God shall bless you, and he that sweareth in the earth shall swear by the God of truth. Yes, because the former troubles are forgotten, and because they are hid from mine eyes. In the New Living Translation, it says, whomever that also invoke a blessing or take an oath will do so by the God of truth. For I will put aside mine anger and forget the evil of earlier days. 17. For behold, and oh well, pay attention, because now we get to the place where we left off of in the last chapter. For behold, that I is Hashem, as the Jews say. It is the God that they don't know whose name he is. That is the new God. It is the Messiah, who's no longer Messiah and becomes the new God. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth. A different system, it is very clear. And that of the former shall not be remembered. There won't be any painful remembrance on a permanent basis, nor come into mind. Well, those are the parts which one hides. The part of that is hay and scum in the Bible, it has to come to our mind, of course, but we have to understand it for 6,000 years. Very clear, these 6,000 years. It is our history. And our history of becoming bettering ourselves. Not just any story. I'm never going to say this is the story of wickedness and sin. No. It is the history of bettering oneself. In 6,000 years, we passed on from practically being the Flintstones, because Adam and Eve were two Neanderthals, to the technology that we have today. Through lots of pain, lots of death, lots of sacrifice, and also wickedness, and also all types of deceit, not on our behalf only, but that would direct us, because it was a plan. But it's a history of bettering oneself, and the maximum that humanity achieves is to give birth to their new God. That is the maximum. The maximum. If you look at it like a romantic story, what a creator. He creates a creation. He creates a society of gods. And when the point of maturity arrives, they make the God of the gods be burned. They give birth. They're all gods, but they make the authority be born so that all those gods live in peace, harmony, and freedom. It is a masterpiece. When you look at it from afar, you say, wow, to tell the truth, everything that was suffered, the pain, it was part of learning. It was part of learning. Of course, tell that story who the one for the one that had to suffer. But well, it is part of learning. And it gives birth, that gives birth to the God of the earth, which is not God the Creator. The work, as work, is magnificent. Yet ye shall rejoice and find jubilee always in the things which I have created, of course, that I have created, but in the future that I shall create. For behold, I bring to Jerusalem, not Jerusalem, but the capital, where the new God lives, joy, and my people rejoicing, all his citizens will rejoice with Jerusalem, not Jerusalem, but it's the capital of his kingdom, and rejoice in my capital, and will rejoice with my people, my citizens, and never again will they hear the voice of crying. Exactly, that is promised. The new God promises that. He's a politician, like all the politicians promise, but this politician, which is a God, will fulfill his word. He doesn't need to deceive. And now number 20 comes here. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days, for the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. Well, this text, it is very difficult to explain from any point of view, because it's in the midst of a new creation. And there is an explanation. It's in a sandwich from I shall create a new heaven and a new earth. It is this text, and another text appears right afterwards, which is like a sandwich that says, they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build for another to inhabit, they shall not plant that another eat, for as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. So between I shall create a new heavens and a new earth where everything shall be marvelous. In the middle it says, there shall not be an infant that shall die of days. But actually we don't want for the children to die. We don't want for anyone to die. Nor old that his days he shall not have filled. We don't want people to be old in the sense of being a scrawny old man. For the child shall die of 100 years old, and the sinner of 100 years old shall be accursed. The Christians haven't one sole explanation for this. Based on this text, they made me believe, and they deceived me based on a guy that I heard, that a voice, and based on another lady that I appreciated a lot, who really followed the game of this person, that this would be given in 2008 because heard a voice and an angel that told them, right, this shall take place and blah blah blah. And based on this stupidity, a prophetic message was given that was false. We don't believe in voices, we don't believe in dreams, we don't believe not even in visions. If there's a vision of yours because you took some hallucinogen or you have some sort of mental problem, that could be very clear, because with any type of constellation, then it can make you live and see things that do not exist. So then, it takes a stone to the head, it takes conflicts in which the body needs to protect oneself and block certain things, and then you start to hallucinate. That's why I don't believe in voices or visions, nor anything, not even dreams. All that can fuck off. The only thing that I believe in is in the only thing that could be, the only thing that's valuable in this world, that is valuable in this world. The most valuable thing in this world is us, the human beings, more than the Bible, more than anything. Humans themselves, we're the most valuable ones there are. If we were to know the value that we had, we would respect ourselves even more. But of course, in this whole chaos and this whole problem that we have deceived all over the place, this God makes us fight each other, gives us different religions so that we kill each other. But all this was not created by man, it was created by the Creator. So then, I'm still saying that the most valuable thing that this creation has is us. Us. The second thing, the Bible, and that's if you can understand it, because it is concealed in a cover of lies. All covers will be a lie. That is concealing something from you. It is concealing something from you. So then, all I care about is what I understand from the Bible. I don't care about visions, dreams, nor astral traveling or presences of angels explaining anything to you. None whatsoever. So then they deceived me back then. I was a little bit more naive. They explain this text, but first of all, they tell you it is very difficult to explain. But if we were to explain anything, it means that in the kingdom of the Messiah, the children, which now we think that at 13 years old they're already over the age. It says that they are barely going to be guilty of sin for not following the Torah at 100 years old. That's why they say, no longer will a child die of only a few days, no longer will adults die before they have lived a full life. It means that the child lives at 13 years old now. They are no longer a child. The child dies, and his new shell or his new life of a youth begins being responsible of his acts. Just like we have the being over the age 18 or 21, depending on what we're talking about. So then at 18, you have certain rights, not before. So then you are no longer a child at 18 in order to become an adult. So then the stage of a child dies. That means the child will no longer be a child at 100 years old, and his life as a responsible adult will be from 100 years and over. It means that in the time of the Messiah, the whole development of the childhood, that now it's just a few years, will take 100 years. That is that type of, that is the explanation which they give. The Jews do. That is what the Jews give. And none other. There's no other explanation they give. I take that and I say, yes, it could be a valid explanation. But I'll go way past from that. Aside from this, could be a valid explanation. In my point of view, it has to do with everything we've studied before. Which, aside from the fact that adolescence and childhood will be prolonged, because that way you can enjoy it in a different way. We have a range of life of 70 years, but women have a range of life of 40 to 50. No, not 50. 40. And with the exception a little longer in which they are fertile. So then women, in this curse of our kidnapper, he placed the women that already from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, when they get their menstruation, their period, when they become a little miss, they have a period of 20 years to have children, and then afterwards that is closed and move on to something else. So then we are pre-programmed to be machines in a precise time to get reproduced and then die. So then what it means here, I read that you don't have to worry in the first 100 years that having to look for a couple, or else you are left behind. Or else here, that's it, you were left behind and that's it, it's over. No, it'll be a life so much more different. The child will be a child up until 100 years. The child will be a child until 100 years. And will no longer be a child from 100 years and on. I like that idea. I understand it. But what comes afterwards, I'll read a different version, number 2001. It says, no longer will there ever be a child that lives a few days. No more infantile death. That's the most important, and even more than just below what is written. Or an old man does not fill his life. That phrase, I don't like that. I don't like the word old, and I don't like filling his days. For dying young shall be to die at 100 years old. This is an interpretation, rather, that is twisted. And he that does not reach the 100 years will be because he's accursed. For me, 100 years is nothing. It's almost the age that we have reached. Almost. Almost. Look at Gene Hammond that died some time ago. Gene Hammond that died in a situation that was very peculiar and suspect, and we're not going to know what happened. He died in his property in New Mexico. This is a state of the United States. You know Gene Hackman, right? An impressive actor. One of the best actors that have ever existed. Such a personality in what he would present and put out, and how he would take that character to the screen. He died. His wife, he and his wife are 20 or 30 years younger. And one of his dogs. They all died at home, and they were discovered 1 or 2 weeks later after having died. There, he was in a place next to the living room. The lady was in the bathroom, and the dog was in the kitchen. They gave the most stupid reason of death. They said that there was no gas, there was no carbon monoxide, that there was no type of poisoning, that even though she was on the floor with pills, those pills were for regulating, well, to regulate certain hormones that she had an imbalance in, but she didn't take not even a more of a quantity, nor were they a product of a suicide or anything. No door was broken in to, none of the doors. How did they die? What did they die of? He was 95 years old. She was 65 years old. They lived already in a faraway place. They were sick and tired of this world and the Hollywood society. They lived there for many years already. And they got along evidently very well. And all of a sudden they both died, leaving millions of dollars as an inheritance. Didn't leave us, the Trumps, with any. That would have been good if he knew us, but he didn't know us. And a mystery. The mystery investigated. It took 2 weeks for them to say, well, he died of inanition. Evidently, it says that she died first. They say that she died due to a sickness that the rats produce, which is a verse like this. A verse. Just like that. A verse. It's the V word they use, you know what I'm saying? That is produced by the rats, and they die, I don't know, once every 100 years. Something stupid like that. Something stupid. And she died. And since he was already senile, they say, it says that he died because he didn't eat. He starved to death. You know the tear that image could have caused. We don't know what happened. Tell the truth, we don't know what happened. She didn't die because of what they say that she died. Now there are accusations of murder. They don't even know how. So then it's a whole chaos. It's a whole chaos. But I'll tell you that story that you should already know. That happened a month ago, by the way. You should know this only to say that Gene Hackman was 95 years old. 95 years old. And he looked completely scrawny. Like those, the Bible says to die 100 years will be old. What the fuck is that? To die. And what is that about being old? I could care less if they give us 500 years. It means that when you get to 500, you die. It means that getting to 500, you're going to start to look so ugly, like Gene Hackman or any old man that wrinkles to death. If that's the way, then let's not have a new world. Just let the world end and not to exist anymore. If the people are going to die, then we don't want any more life. We don't want life again in order to just get 500, 2,000 years. Like Solomon said, it doesn't matter if you live 70 years or 2,000 years. It's the same result. If you know you're going to die, if you know you have 10,000 years to live, it's the same thing. Because the day you die, you no longer exist. They say, no, but you have the experience of 10,000 years. Where is the experience left if you died? Where is it left? There's no sense. It makes no sense. Not even the expression that you have to live your life well because you don't know if tomorrow you will die. That makes no sense to live it well or not or wrong. It makes no sense because when you die, you're not going to be conscious of what you lived. So then, the theory that we don't come from nothing and we go to nothing, that's why I enjoy every day. It makes no sense to enjoy every day. Because what sense does it make to enjoy every day if tomorrow you will no longer exist forever and you will go back to nothing? You live the moment. I cannot understand what it is to live in the moment. Tell the truth. If I don't have an existence, that's way past than just a moment in my mind. That moment is no good. Maybe there are minds that say, I live in the moment. No, I don't live in the moment. I live in the moment. Thinking that I will always remember that moment. The moment that they say, just live the moment because tomorrow you shall die, then I will no longer enjoy the moment. Because my mind says, why should I exist? Why get till tomorrow? There's no need to get to tomorrow. I don't even want to live this moment. Make me disappear now. Because if you're going to make me disappear in 10 years, what the fuck do I want to live 10 years for? Makes no sense to live 10 years. It makes no sense. What for? If after 10 years you will disappear forever. So then make me disappear today, since you gave me the news. So then, that about us coming from nothing and going to nothing, it doesn't work in my mind. It just doesn't work in my mind. In my mind, there's something that there's eternity, and there's no eternity, then nothing works. So then, for me to read here, and the old men, or that are 100 years old, not to no, that's a verse. Either it's eternal life or nothing. So then, the new God of the earth says, "This understand it a different way." How do I understand it? This way. The children will grow slowly. The youth will be eternal. But something can happen. Something can happen. Everything that I've talked about in the last 3 subjects. Your justice will be valid as long as you are just. The day that your justice starts to be injustice, then you become an accursed man. An accursed man means that you're going to live the curses. The curses being what we live due to the laws of Hammer. Those are curses. That we feel them as curses. So then, what does this book mean? What does this mean? It means clearly this. There won't be a child that dies in a few days, nor an old man that does not fill his life for the day. For the child shall die at 100 years old, and the sinner of 100 years old shall be accursed. It says the sinner. The sinner. In other words, the children, they're going to have certain patience per se and instruction for their mind to mature. From the 100 years and on, that is when they are responsible for their acts. Once they are responsible for their acts, they could be just or sinner. Sinner is not in the sense that you think a sinner is. I call sinner a person that is not righteous and does wickedness. In the moment in which this sinner does wickedness, they are accursed. Just like that, they are accursed. And what does being accursed mean? They're going to suffer curses. How are those curses repaired? When they go back to their path being one of righteousness, and he does the reparations that he has to make. So then, this world that will have billions of people, constantly there will be people that enter into the curse constantly, or also be a very boring world and not of gods. As gods, we have to experience the curses also. So then on a permanent basis, the people will enter into curses, and they will exit out of and enter into curses, because everyone has to experience what their limits are, what's convenient, what is not convenient, why to exercise certain wickedness is harmful. So then, since everyone will have the potential of doing wickedness, they'll enter into curses. But once they become a sinner, like the text says, it's a text that's concealed. I uncover it for you in the New Earth. Your childhoodness will be lived in a different way, not so accelerated. Once you are past that, when you act unrighteously and you are evil and do wickedness, you will be accursed. Accursed means that you'll be responsible for your own curses. And how do you fix them? Going back to the path of justice. Because if you continue on the path of the curse, it'll cause your death. I don't think everybody will continue on until they die. They will all change paths before dying. That's what I believe. I don't see a person to persist in their wickedness, seeing how the body deteriorates and they are accursed compared to the rest, just because of their wickedness. And aside from the fight that the government, the God of the earth, will have lots of techniques to alleviate certain things. Now I think that man is accursed and wicked, basically because of the trauma and things that they have lived on this earth. For example, when we talk about Cain and Abel, don't think that Cain and Abel were perfect children. They came from parents that did not comprehend that their God, the Creator, was so evil with them and kicked them out. You know the trauma that Adam and Eve had? That trauma was passed down to their children when they told them the story of their children that there was a God that kicked them out of a paradise and cursed them. I can imagine that they did have anger, and Cain, especially, the most intelligent of the two, by far, said, I'm so upset. I'm not going to obey that God. I'm not going to obey. I could give a fuck. And I'm even going to thank in the way that whatever the fuck I want. I'm not going to be sacrificing a lamb like my brother, the idiot. And the brother, the idiot, like it says, the song of Baron Rojo, as a servant of his God, he sacrificed lamb. So then one says, what a sickly, this is the God that he serves. He went and killed him. You have to test the limits. What happens when they kill you? Or what happens when you kill? We are gods. We are gods. He didn't know what was going to happen. He couldn't imagine what would happen. It was the first murder in history, on record, all provoked by Yahweh, mind you. All provoked by Yahweh. In fact, when he spoke to him and he said, notice that sin is at your door, I think that Yahweh incited him to do this. Because he's the father of lies. I think that that urge was incited by Yahweh. I blame Yahweh for everything. You already know. Because he said, I need the first murder. Let's see how he kills his brother. And he produced jealousy. You're not going to read that. It's my Bible. He produced jealousy on Cain. Uncontrollable jealousy. And to top it off, God showed him publicly that the sacrifice of Abel was pleasing to his eyes, and that of Cain was something repugnant, and that made his anger rise even more. And because Yahweh hardened his heart, he rose up and killed his brother. Of course, you're not going to read that. You're going to read a different story, but that story is the one that I read. The one that I read. That Yahweh provoked, because or else it would not say he himself that Yahweh is an assassin. How does that say that Yahweh is an assassin? From the very beginning. You don't have to add anything else. Everything that happens in Scripture is his work, and he is to blame. He is to blame with Pharaoh. He is to blame when he killed Moses. When he cursed us. There's no turn of the page. There's no turn of the page. And if you turn of the page and you justify it, careful that you don't have the syndrome, the Stockholm syndrome, that you love and you protect and worship and defend your what do you say? What's the term I used? Your kidnapper. Careful that you don't have the syndrome because you become old because of him. Your parents have died because of him. In fact, all of your parents. Your kidnapper killed all your parents, your grandparents. He killed them. He created death. If he created death, then he is the author of death. So then your kidnapper killed every person. Have that present. Don't ever forget. If you still kneel down to ask him, careful. You're with the syndrome of Stockholm. Okay, so then, this text is very clear. The government, the God of the new earth, will allow for all human beings to be free to choose of doing justice or of doing wickedness. He will place laws and say this is righteousness and this is injustice. If you break them, you yourself will suffer the consequences of being accursed. And to be accursed means to enter into a decadence, that if you don't come out from there, it takes you to death. That is what it is to be accursed. It is very clear. The text is very clear, absolutely clear. Once we understand it that way, so then, it means that childhoodness will be longer, and that injustice places you in the, either justice or injustice places you in the path of life or death. The date we take that out is the date that we have robots, just like that, robots. 21. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. That was what I taught you, that we shall build new constructions the whole world will learn. That is the most magnificent thing. And we shall also plant. It doesn't mean that there won't be a technology so that there's enough for everyone without them having to harvest, because that could also be the plan. If we are capable of creating music out of nothing as if it was a band, so then we're able to make robots out of nothing, and that they work and to do the same thing that they're doing now, with more of a field, with more production, with less plagues. I mean, tremendous. I mean, so then that about planting vineyards is just for out of pleasure. I, under no aspect, want to go back to the age in which I have to plant all the fucking plants that exist in order to have tomato, lettuce, garlic, and 10,000 things that I need. I don't live from that only. So then, I want to have all the vegetables in my disposition, just like being in a supermarket. And that, if it's anything less than that, I will not get used to that. I will not get used to that at all. Now, if that is free to top it off, I go and grab whatever I want and I bring it home. That would even be better, because I want to have grapes from Chile. They're good, or from Argentina or Peru. There's some exquisite grapes from Peru. Those from Chile are very good. Also, from Mendoza are exquisite. So then I want to eat things like that, but also cannot have the whole population to work like a slave to produce and to sell and for them to work forever. No, no, no. That is why you have the robots. And slavery will be that of the robots. Let's use technology for us. Let us continue to plant, and we shall make fields that don't exist now, because they're deserts, and more fields that are now covered by the sea, and fields that don't exist now because they're outside of what the dome covers the earth for to harvest. So then the whole world has to have everything available to them. Now, if out of pleasure you want to plant your own vineyard and you want to plant your things because you like to see them, that's fine. That's what the text is saying. It doesn't say that you're going to have to plant to eat. So then it says, they shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards. See, vineyards, not corn, wheat, and all the rest. They shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build for another to inhabit. So then there won't be anything about having to work like a donkey. Before in Argentina, there was a phrase that don't support any longer, that they say that it was working like a black person. But that phrase, when I came here, a lot of people say, I would like to work like a black person. It's like they choose not a heavy job, an easier job. Well, I shouldn't say anything. I don't want to get canceled. I'm not going to block anything. It's ancient phrases that are no longer used. And that is good. I support that they are no longer used. I support that. So then it says, they will not build for another to inhabit them, nor plant for another to eat. Exactly. There won't be any companies that have to earn their lives or people that build or that earn their life. No, no, no. If they want to help another, that's fine. They can help them. They can teach them. There will be all types of universities to construct and all the rest, but there won't be companies that come to do this job just out of money. No, not that. But we could have as robots again to help them do all the things that we don't want to do to help us. All that is what it means to build. They will not build for another to inhabit. They shall not plant for another to eat. That part about not planting for another is that you're not going to dedicate yourself to the field to live. That is what it means. For according to the days of the trees shall be the days of my people. Okay. Here the phrase is a little bit better. I also don't like it. You know how many days are the days of the tree? I was looking into it. There are trees that last 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, 500 years. There are trees that last 5,000. And there are trees that they think that last a lot longer. Here, I believe in California, there's a tree that they counted the date according to this. It's like 5,000 years old. There are other trees that say that are even older. Obviously, more than 6,000 they couldn't. None of them. Either up to 6,000 accepted. If they say 7,500, if they say 10,000, I won't accept it. But the trees, of course, I do accept that one. If the trees are eternal, this type of trees, the trees should be eternal. That's what happens. The trees should be eternal. Only for them to die, and just those trees, the fruit ones should be eternal. They should never die. And that is, we could see it in some trees. So then, for it to say the phrase, for the days of my people shall be as the days of the trees, or according to the trees shall be the days of my people, at least, we have augmented the life of the human to many thousands of years. Because if it's of the trees, it's thousands of years. Not the short duration trees, but of the greater duration. But that's not enough. If it's 5,000 years and they die, it's not enough for me. So then I understand that the life of the trees should be an eternal life. They should not have to be destroyed or ever be fell. So then we're talking about eternity or nothing, just like that. Eternity or nothing, of course. So then it says, they shall not build for another to inhabit, they shall not plant for another to eat, for as the days of a tree are the days of my people. And mine elect, in other words, my citizens, shall long enjoy the work of their hands. That is something which goes way past just planting or building. To enjoy the work of your hands is to enjoy things that you can't even imagine that you would like to do. For example, music, art, all types of studies, all types of inventions. That is what it is to enjoy the work of your art, what you achieve to do. Now the human beings, we have the limitations of having to work to survive. If you dedicate yourself to what you like, you don't earn money and you're a loser. You can be hungry and you will live bad off. If you get married, you cannot do what you want. You have to do what you don't want, and it's to work more to feed your children. If you're a woman, you'll never do what you like because you were taught that what you like was to get married, to look for your blueprints, to have children, get fat, have more children. And if you can't, to have more children. And when your body is, give or take, pretty ugly, then you can live your life. And the little bit that you have left, which is when your husband no longer likes you because you become older and uglier, according to the standards of the world, and that's it, you can die. They treat you already, you're no longer that sexy young girl to an old lady that nobody wants. That is the cycle of life that's horrible of human beings. Horrible. That has to no longer exist. And when did women do whatever they wanted? Never. The only women that do whatever they want is the ones that don't get married. Those that study, those that don't look for a macho to control them, not tell them what they have to do, and doesn't make them have children. So then, those women which are single that study and work in something that they like, in the end of it all, also get embittered because they did not fill the function that they were designed for. So then they like that on the one hand, but then in their interior they feel dry because they didn't have children, nobody wants them, and they didn't have their blueprints. So then no one can have their cake and eat it too. All human beings cannot have their cake and eat it too. If we do one thing, we miss the other. If we do one thing, we don't fulfill with the plan of the other. And that's the way it is. But women never have been valued, and they were never able to enjoy anything. That's the truth. Women, those that decided to be stars or stars of their own path, to not subjugate themselves to anyone, it's been a little bit better for them. But that and all, according to what they say, and they have certain regrets, they repent of not having had children and all the rest. In the end of it all, they'll die. In the end of it all. But I believe that they had a better life than those that did not get married. I believe. I'm talking about the greater majority, because, or else think about your grandma. Think of my grandmother. I think about my grandmother, and my grandmother, it was a servitude life. It was so much that her son number 11 or 12 was brought up by the daughter that was 15 years old. My grandmother was so busy with all the children that she had that when my dad was born, she gave him to his 15-year-old daughter and says, "Hey, you have to take care of this one. Take care of this one." And my dad told me that my aunt, that I used to love, my Aunt Marina, brought him up as if she was the mother. So then she had his mother as his mom and his mom as his mom, but his mom was not enough for everyone. She had like 12 children. It wasn't enough for anything. The father never saw him because he was working an animal to feed that whole group. So then who enjoyed anything? No one. The father died at 45 years old. And that's it. Because men, they would die working. They would just die working. And women, or the old lady, thanks to all the children that she had, she lived to like 90 years old. My grandmother, she survived it all. My little granny. Wow, I'm talking about on behalf of my dad, right? All Adventist, by the way, completely Adventist to the core. My grandmother survived everything. My grandma was unique, but for her, she would tell us sex is no light, and women in a missionary position and the men above and quickly. That is life for those people. Poor people. And said my grandma, so many things that she didn't live in the world. She never traveled, never knew some other things. It was always the servitude for her children. Wow, that is not life. That is not life. In the life of the husband, he died working. That's also not a life. So then I read these texts and I say, they shall not build for another to inhabit, nor will they plant. I read that they no longer have to work to feed their family like animals. They're not going to have to work, nor get married because they're obligated to be married because the time is running out. No, absolutely not. They will enjoy the work of their hands, something which humanity, very few people achieve to do. Just like that, very few people have achieved to do. Only the multi-billionaires achieve that. The rest of the population, no. 23. They shall not labor in vain. It is very clear. They shall not labor just for nothing, just without any sense, not work for money or for another. They shall not work with effort. No, they're going to enjoy the work of their hands. If they're going to work, it's going to be in something that gives them pleasure. It gives them pleasure. They shall not work in vain, nor bring forth for trouble. Perfect. No son. That is a curse. For they are the seed of the blessed of Yahweh. What Yahweh? The Yahweh the Creator? No. Yahweh, the new God of the earth. They shall be offspring of the blessed of the new God of the earth, and their offspring with them. The new God, the new government, will be in charge of the whole world to be blessed. And before they call, I will answer. Who's I, the government, the new God? Before they call, the government will answer. In other words, before they call what? Before what? Before they have to want justice or something. No. The government will always be in this position of helping whomever. And while they are still speaking, I will hear. It's not that there's going to be a big brother. Possibly, maybe. But it means that the government will act quickly in whatever situation of need and education and fixing things, because it could be that one rebelled himself, he got so upset or whatever out of insanity, and he killed someone else. The government comes and solves absolutely everything. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. This could be literal, so literal like we're reading, which I believe, and also in turn of being literal, also symbolic. What we now call wolves, evil wolves, ferocious wolves, evil people, and the sheep, the good people, those that are guidable, those that follow, shall live together. It means that both good and evil living together. I find that to be perfect. That in the sense that is symbolic, the text is. Both the wolf and the lamb, because the wolf feeds on the lamb, he'll eat them, but they'll be together. I find it to be okay. In the new earth, we all want them both to live. Not that some go to hell, no. Oh, the lambs say that. Oh, the wolves to the... No, the Messiah says everyone comes. Wolves and lamb and sheep, they have to learn. The whole world has to live together. And also in turn, in a literal sense, that we don't no longer want for it to be repeated, that nature eats themselves. I was watching the other day, I give food to Binchi, the one that Kuromi and Matzah, every morning. I make them feed. I go and feed them outside. I don't put them inside because Michi is very wild. Michi likes to be inside, the mom. But she fights the cats. She fights with them because she's been a wild street cat. And she can't stand the presence of another cat. And she comes and hisses at them and smacks them. So then I have to have her separate. She eats outside and the little kittens inside, which they're not so much of a kittens, they're growing. So then every day I put the food in the morning, or Brian comes before Brian feeds them. It's between Brian and I that feed them. So then precisely I fed them, and I stayed there watching, drinking coffee, and she ate and she left. And then always the birds come, precious birds that come and sing. They come down and they eat some seeds and little food of the cat, and I allow them. It's not so much. It's not that they eat everything. They come and eat. I was looking at these birds eating. He was picking there, and all of a sudden, in the speed of lightning, I feel a movement like this, so violent, and how the shriek of the bird, and it was so fast, the attack was, that I was not able to see what happened to the cat, and I was looking at it. I was watching the bird, and then I saw it yelling, and then it disappeared. And it was not by magic. It was a ferocious attack. I go looking, and it was Michi, who had the bird in its mouth, that nightingale shrieking, and they have a loud shriek. It's a big bird, okay? Not a little sparrow. It's a big old bird shrieking, and I was yelling after Michi. And so then I went after her throughout the whole garden, and she was jumping through things. It's a big yard on the back. And what happened? She went under this RV that I have behind, and she went underneath. And I said, how do I grab her? And the bird was shrieking. So then that I made some noise right there, and she let him go, and his wings were kind of weird. He couldn't fly, and he went under some woods that I couldn't find. But I got so upset about Michi, and then I said, I mean, how am I going to be angry against the cat? If the creator programmed her to do that, she's not doing any wickedness. She's doing her own nature, her programming. Her programming is not to go and give food to the bird. First of all, it says, you fucking son of a bitch bird eating my food. And then the bird came to eat what is not his. And third of all, she has no sympathy of the birds. They have a programming. When these two tiny ones start to look through the door, both Kuromi and the other one, and they see the birds, they start to make a little noise with their mouth. A very strange. It's like kind of like they're like. It's like, what is that noise? That they're like, kind of like salivating something. They see a bird and they start to salivate, like they need it. They need to go hunt it. That is their nature. Whose is it? Is it thanks to our kidnapper? Thanks to that. We have to change that. We're never going to be a society that is beautiful and happy if we eat each other. If the birds eat other smaller animals, because the crows eat the smaller birds. I've seen it. The eagles that come here, they eat smaller birds, and it's a disaster. It's a disaster. And that is what I see here in my civilized zone. You see how it is in the wild? One feeds on another. It is nauseous. They eat each other. A lion or a leopard, a tiger, when they grab a deer or an antelope, they start to eat it alive. They could care less. They eat their whole side, and they're still alive until they finally die. But don't think that it's beautiful, the scene. It is horrible, the scene is. It is horrible, the scene is. So then, that has to end. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock. Same thing. A literal sense, a lion eating straw like the bullock, and also in the sense that's symbolic. Lions are the most powerful, the kings eating with the most stupid people, the bullocks. So don't be a bullock, don't be an idiot, don't be an ass also. So then there won't be any mixture of societies. This is a king and this is an ass. No, all together. They shall eat straw. In the symbolic sense. There won't be any social classes in the new earth. There won't be, that won't exist. The poor and the rich, no. The intelligent and the fools, the white and the black, no. There won't be any different classes and separations. There could be blacks and whites, but not that there are ranked different separations, is what I'm trying to say. Is that the only rank is God and the rest of humanity. There won't be people that are ultra millionaire because they are of the blue bloods, and then the poor people that were born in poverty. No, that's over. So then the asses and the kings will eat together the same thing. In other words, there won't be different classes and social classes. I'll repeat it, even if it seems to be stupid. That will not exist of any aspect. Now let's go to the literal. The whole digestive system of the carnivore animals has to change. They shall eat straw like the bullock, and the serpent shall eat dirt. We could care less what the serpent eats, but the serpent, in the sense that it's symbolic, the serpent are animals that are actually deceiving. They are poisonous. They are the symbol of sin and of Satan and of Yahweh. So then, everything that is like Yahweh, whatever that thing that is poisonous, whatever that is treasonous, like the serpent, and all the rest, immortal, like the serpent, will make them eat dirt. That expression of eating dirt is the level will lower the level. Was that an expression of saying all those that are evil, poisonous, ferocious, we're going to lower their level. We're going to go to level, or to eat dirt is to pay for the consequences. We're taking that out, or whatever it means. There could be more of a meaning. Actually, the serpent will be an inoffensive animal. It's not going to also be eating other animals. They shall not afflict, which is the most important, nor hurt, even more important, nor destroy in all my holy mountain. My holy mountain is all of my land, my whole earth, my new earth. Not just my mountain. You know what the Jews say? The Jews say that only in Jerusalem, where the Messiah lives, that's the only place that there won't be any of that. Then outside, where the Gentiles live and all the rest, then the types of animals that kill each other will continue. I mean, because as a holy mountain is Jerusalem. Now, sir, the holy mountain is the new creation entirely. So then, when the new God does whatever he does with the genetics, does whatever he does with the genetics of the animals, he will change the system, their digestive system, and will do, for example, for them all to chew the cud, to ruminate, for example. So then the lion gets a digestive tract that chews the cud, just like the cow, for stomachs and all the rest. I find that to be excellent. So then the text ends marvelously. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. This refers to both animals as people, because the people will not do evil or hurt even if they try it. Every evil will be repaired by the government, and it shall also be repaired by the people themselves, because they're going to have to repair the destruction. They paint a time in an earth that's marvelous, way past what we could even fathom. But it is marvelous due to the only fact that the possibility of doing evil will exist. The possibility of doing evil or being accursed will exist. It'll exist on a permanent basis. We cannot conceive under any circumstance a Christian heaven where there is no evil tendencies. No, the evil tendencies will have to have it. Both as the tendencies to good. What is a tendency? A tendency, I don't like that word. Potential. With tendency is that you already have a tendency. No, not a tendency. Not a tendency. Tendency is wrong. Potential, yes. Tendency is a programming that makes you lean towards evil. If I'm driving something that has a tendency to the right, I let it go and it goes to the right. So the tendency is incorrectly said. Not a tendency, nor a tendency to good, because that would be already a bit of a programming. No, I want individuals that have the potential of doing whatever. That is a true God. Without the positive tendencies, of course, if I make a design and have tendency, then all the tendencies are all there, and he's no longer a God that is leveled, not a balanced God. We need a God, a true God, in every human being. And every human being has to be a free God. That is what I believe in freedom. Absolutely. Absolute freedom. Well, I was going to read other texts, because here it ends, but we'll read them next Shabbat. Remember that I want for you to ask me if you have any questions, and I'll read them next Shabbat. That has to do with the feasts that are coming up. Remember that already, in almost all of this entire plane, they're already on the last day of the year. Enjoy the last day of the year, 5,993. You're already on the last day of the year. When the sun goes down, tomorrow, Sunday, what begins is the year 5,994. It's an entire event for us. 5,994. So then from here on out, I wish you all a very happy and very blessed and prosperous year 5,994. And I actually desire that our God and kidnapper notices that there's no need to advance until 2028, 2029, 2032, or the fucking bitch that bore him. There's no need. There's no need. Already, it is a moment to fulfill and hand over the kingdom. I think that Yahweh doesn't want to hand over the kingdom. I think he's addicted to power. He designed it that way. And not that he would, I mean, it's a characteristic of human beings. Promises, 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 but when he wants to give, there they start to, oh, no, I'm sure, no, up ahead, like the husband does with the wife. No, later on, when they could have done it there, or a father with a son. Later. And it starts to stretch the time. Tries to stretch the time. Is that what's happening with Yahweh? Is that what's happening? The way you think is the way we think, or the way we think you think. And we have that we have to want to stretch. No, I'm not going to do it now. A little bit later. Like right now, like they say, the Mexicans say, like right now. It's like later on. We're sick and tired, and the time is, and you're gonna the bride will leave you if you're not there. There's nothing to wait. There's nobody new to come. There's more chances of us dying, or people abandoning ship. There's a chance of that, and maybe in your mind, Yahweh, you're thinking, no, but this person has to leave. It doesn't matter if they have to leave or not. Just hand over what you have to hand over, and that's it. Forget it. He doesn't want to hand over the power. He's doubting. He doesn't want to hand over. That must be it. Now I comprehend it. He is hesitant. He says, "What did I do? What did I do? Is it that I do this? No. What do I do? Okay, in that hesitant time, that's it. It's over. Hand over what you have to do it, and shove it, and go rest. Go fuck off." And hand over what you have to do, and then we'll see what we do and what we don't. But the God of the earth is formed. Absolutely formed. We don't need neither more time nor more people. It is what it is, and what we have is enough. When the God of the earth was born, they born. It's not going to be others being born. No, that's it. It's over. The God is born and is willing to start with its work. But of course, as long as they don't give us the power and the keys, we're not going to do anything. The other one is doubtful, doesn't want to let go. It's like a child that doesn't want to let go. He's afraid. Yahweh is afraid. Wow, Yahweh is afraid. Just like that. I have to say that way. Maybe in psychology, in inverse psychology, it works. If it works with us, it works with him. Yahweh is afraid. But I never thought the God, the Creator, ultra-powerful, is afraid. He's afraid of handing over the power. No, Yahweh, that's it. That's it. It's enough. Yahweh is trembling. He's afraid. How incredible that Yahweh, the all-powerful, is afraid. The greatest assassin is afraid. Yahweh's afraid? He's listening right now, and he's saying, man, fuck, man. At the top of it, they insult me. Now they say that I'm scared. Yahweh is scared. He is scared. Yahweh is scared. Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. Yahweh is scared. A flower is born every day, and the sun comes out every day. What a beautiful song. Every now and then, you hear that voice, one like mine, as of a delicious bread and delicious to sing, and in the mind along with the cicadas. That what it means in the insanities of your mind. Like the message of the eternal truth, that is very mind-blowing. That's what it means. But also, there's a transformator that exists that consumes the best that you have. It throws you back and asks for more and more. And there comes a point that you don't want. Let's not get to that point for us to not want the position that they have to give us. Suck at the breast of liberty. You shall always have it with you, within the heart. They can corrupt you. You may forget. But she is always there. Yesterday, I had a dream with the hungry, the crazies, those who left, those who are in prison. This day, I awoke singing this song, that it is necessary. That was already written some time ago. It is necessary to sing it once again, and all the times that it is necessary. Hear, O my people, my law, and incline your ears to the words of my mouth. Aguante boca. Let's go, boca. I shall open my mouth in Proverbs. I shall speak hidden things from times of old. Boca. I shall open my mouth in Proverbs applies to Yahweh when he came, but I say when I open my mouth, not in Proverbs anymore, I speak clearly. If I open my mouth, it is to speak clearly. But you have to listen to my words. Not just you. It would seem that Yahweh also needs to hear that the time is up. And we have to surpass the fear. The destiny is written. The end is inevitable. Semper Fi. How beautiful was that hymn? I liked it a lot. It did sound, the voice was kind of weird, but that's the way it sounds in that style that they wanted to sing it. How beautiful did it sound? The Argentinian national anthem. Did you listen to it when you saw the game? No one even watched the game. You didn't hear the national anthem, the Argentinian nation. Oh, how beautiful. You should have sung it along with the public or with the one that sung it. Let the laurels be, he sung the whole entire hymn. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Crowned with glory, let us live. Or we swear with glory and without fear, like Yahweh, to die. Really, it is my wish that this year, 5,994, Yahweh, to really get on the ball, to get locked in and say, it is time. Why should we wait? Why should we wait? It's time. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. Without any further ado, a very, very happy new year to each and every one of you. May it be a year of actual blessings for the eternal truth. May it be an actual year of blessing for the new God of the earth. And we shall applaud and applause for the new God of the earth, which the time draweth very nigh to the formation and the fulfillment of receiving his power.
Yahweh, no tengas miedo.
Yahweh, don't be afraid.
Ya es momento de
It is
entregar
time
tu
to
poder
hand over your power and
ir.
leave. That is all that we want. Hallelujah to every one of you. I want the Boca. Let's go Boca. Let Boca win tomorrow. May it be a good game. And Brazilians, my friends, there's no one listening to me because we're all Argentinian here. Hire an Argentinian coach. I know that you're going to really let your pride down. Some are already talking, some Brazilians are writing to an Argentinian coach. That idea, it comes from you yourselves. And others say, no, that would be a dishonor. Brazilians, friends of the eternal truth. There's none in the eternal truth. We're all Argentinian. Brazilians, friends of the eternal truth, who were humbled and you lost in a way that was horrible. Look for a coach that knows about Argentinian soccer. Hallelujah to every one of you.